Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode number 250. The quarter. Something.
The quartering.
They call it the quarter.
The quarter.
It's not called.
The millennium quarter.
I'd like to thank Tefty Teft and the Unlimited Narcs for joining us this evening. It's nice of you to make
What's
time
good?
in your schedule of making songs.
What's good,
every
y'all?
5 minutes.
It's an honor to be so recognized in Idol Manager. It's great.
Well, you didn't win any awards at the award show.
That's okay. It's
Nothing?
politics, you know? I got
Nothing.
snubbed.
It's
Right.
political.
It's about the music, man.
Yeah.
It's about the music.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
If you're confused
top a bunch
about
of
what
charts.
the hell is happening, I played Idol Manager yesterday, and you get to not only name yourself and your group, but you get to name your rival and your rival's group. So, of course, we picked Tefty Teft and the Unlimited Narcs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Narc Nation.
And
Good choice. Good choice.
Narc Nation.
Narc Nation, rise up.
Happy birthday, by the way, Watts.
Yeah, happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, yesterday was really fun. That game is in depth. You would not believe it, but that is
Yeah.
a serious management game.
It looked really in depth. Yeah,
It's super serious.
that's cool. Paul,
I
would
think
you?
we should have a new roller coaster tycoon, but an idol.
There you go. Yeah.
For Lefty. Planet Coaster, Planet Idols. That's what we need.
Paul, would you ever cover Idol Manager? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. It sounds fun already.
Yeah.
Just
It looked
from
fun.
what you're describing.
Yeah.
So I hired a new idol. We had 3. So you start with 3. I hired one more, and she immediately joined the group, went on Twitter, started making fun of vegans. Everyone got mad.
As you
Kids
would.
usually are so chill about stuff like that. I'm surprised. The game
Everyone
really.
got mad.
You
missed the
never
mark
know.
there.
You never know when you're talking to a vegan. They never tell you anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they got real mad on Twitter, and then you have to choose if you apologize or whatever. And we were like, just make a joke out of it. People love that.
Hey,
That's
impressive for the
hilarious.
vegans that they would love that.
One
Yeah.
thing they nail in Idol Manager is Twitter. They nail it. The comments are exactly like you'd expect on Twitter.
Oh, really? Toxic.
Yeah. Whittling down my idol's mental health. It's great.
Nice. Is there like a mental health meter? I need a
Yes.
mental health meter in real
Yes.
life.
It goes
Oh,
like minus
man.
5 points because of social media. And I'm like, great.
Wow.
Guys, I don't think I'm gonna make it today. My mental health
It
meter
just
is
only
like
goes down because of
25%.
social media. It never
It
goes
only
up.
goes down.
Yeah, every network that you join drops your mental health.
Hey, she was one of my idols was streaming. She had a lot of trolls. So we told her to call out the trolls. And now people love her. Now she's happy.
Wow.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah.
Calling out
Okay.
the trolls.
Call them out.
Nice.
Yeah.
She told him to eat dirt, I believe.
Harsh.
Harsh.
Do you guys like games? All right, I'm gonna give you an A or a B. Games where you get to set your squad mates' names so you can name them like after your friends, or games where you get to set your enemies' names so you can name them after your friends. Which one do you like better?
Wow.
Well,
can't-
I definitely want to take down my friends.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Can't
work
even
issue.
think
with
of a
my-
game where you name your enemies besides the one you're talking about now.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, you're right. I can't
it's
think of
not
one
very
either.
often.
Yeah, that's pretty rare actually. Because yeah.
It's really fun. Because every time you're like, oh, Tefty, you're going down, Tefty. I'm having a battle with Tefty and he doesn't even know it.
Meanwhile, I keep on charting number 1. Just sitting at
Political
number
funk,
1.
It's all the rage. Political funk.
Who knew?
Yeah.
My
Just-
political EDM with inspirational dancing went pretty well, though.
Is he
Okay.
sending you DMCA takedown notices?
We did do a Shake Your Fantasy metal cover, so
Nice.
mm.
Yeah. Excellent.
Sounds good.
So how's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah.
I'm doing good. I
Yeah.
tried a brand new game that came out today.
Yeah, I saw
Released
that.
today. It's called Eldest Souls.
Yeah. That looks really cool.
It's made by a team of 2 people, which
Two
I'm
people.
amazed.
Oh, 2
by
people
what
made that?
people-
Wow.
Yeah, what people can make these days with I guess the tech that's available in the modern age with
Yeah.
a small team, it's pretty crazy. And it's a Souls-like. The combat is very Souls-like pixel art boss rush. So there's no wandering around killing little guys. You're just fighting bosses.
Oh,
Boss,
really?
Boss, boss.
Oh, it's just
Yeah.
bosses. Oh, that's
Just
cool.
bosses.
Monster Hunter.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, Monster Hunter.
Paul
Interesting.
called out how they nailed the SEO on that game.
Yeah.
Eldest Scrolls, Elden
Yeah.
Ring, Dark
Elden Ring,
Souls,
Dark
and Elder
Souls.
Scrolls, all in one name. That's very impressive.
So I think in there's a little press kit, and they said that they're Italian, and they had a bunch of names that they loved in Italian, but when they translated it, it was awful. And they're like, well, we want people to know what they're getting into, so we'll go with a game name that's like very self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's a Souls-like game.
They should put a subtitle of the Italian name. That would sound cool.
Should just
Italian
be
names are always
Italian
cool.
Souls. That's it.
Italian Souls.
Italian Souls is great.
But it's great. You kill bosses, you get a shard, and then you get to use the shard to empower your abilities. And each
Oh.
boss has a different ability, and you can spec it into your dash or your charge attack, and it does different effects. So it's really cool, and the RPG element is pretty deep.
Nice.
So I'm kind of loving it.
It looked like fun while you were playing it.
It's fun.
That boss looked tough though.
Their bosses are very difficult, and I think they can afford to make them very difficult because you just spawn at the boss every time.
Right.
So it's like you just keep going. You don't have to run back. You're not having to go get resources. You die, you go back in. You die, you go back in.
Is there like a certain ladder of bosses that you're climbing to like the end boss or something? Since it's like boss after boss after boss?
Probably. I think there's
okay.
10 total bosses. And
Got it.
they're tough. But combat with a lot of games, you never know if it's going to be tough because it's kind of jank or if it's tough because it's just tough.
Mhm.
And this one is definitely just tough. Like the enemies' attacks are really readable, which is awesome. The combat is really fluid. The movement's fluid. Like it feels fair but tough.
Yes.
So they kind of
Fair
nailed it.
but tough.
Yep.
The new stance on Eldest Souls. Fair but tough.
Fair but tough. It's also on Switch if you want to be
Oh,
fair and
nice.
tough on the go.
I've been.
What have you been up to, Paul? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I was
What-
gonna say on the Switch I've actually been playing XCOM 2, even though that came out a while ago.
Oh, nice.
And it's XCOM's great, but it's also super frustrating. You know,
Xcom is, yeah.
it's just frustrating, man. I'm like, that's it. I'm reloading. I'm safe scumming. Screw you, game. Anyways.
I have been into the Genshin Impact and Zuma updates for the past 2
Yes.
weeks now. I got Ayaka to 90 and her weapon to 90, and now I'm done. So now I have no more content to do because I spent it all in the past week. But it's a big update, and it was fun to go back to and have like a truly new area to explore, really since the first time, since launch. So I've enjoyed going back to it. That's a game I'll stick with because it doesn't take that much time commitment usually to get through stuff. But this was a chunky update, so there was a lot to actually.
Do they add
do
like a
this
big
time around,
map?
which is nice. Yeah,
It's
this new series of
beautiful.
island is like it's essentially Japan. It's even
Oh,
shaped
wow.
like Japan.
Cool.
And all the architecture is Japanese, and there's samurai and stuff you fight now. And it's very good. This hasn't even been a full year since it's been out, and they already put out an expansion this big. So they did a good job with it for sure.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah.
How long has that game been out now? Is it a year and a half, or is it like
Not
half
quite a year.
It was
Not quite.
Not
October.
full release anyway. Maybe in like alpha, but
Wasn't
I
October
think
when it came out?
early September, I think,
Oh,
was when it
yeah.
came out.
That
Pretty
game has
sure-
made a
it could have
huge
been October,
impact.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They've only made a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Like barely any money, not
Just,
really
yeah.
anything to write home about.
I've spent just nothing on it at all, so I'm doing great.
That's great.
Mhm.
Well, should we? There's not a whole lot to talk
Destiny.
about Destiny, right? This week,
It's
The game I
crossplay.
am not playing is Destiny right now.
Yeah.
the Twab gave us some details about crossplay, so we can talk about that. But overall,
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
not a lot this week going on in the Destiny universe. Like the festival is getting all wrapped up. Next week
I
is
think
Iron
about
Banner.
this
My God.
Earlier today, I was thinking how like usually during the summer, there's not a lot going on in game, but we're
Yeah.
so hyped for the stuff that is coming in September, right? Because they start feeding it to us, and then it's like weekly updates or monthly updates, and we're just like getting more and we're salivating more and more as the summer goes on. But this year, it's a little different because we're not getting that until 2022. So it's like
Yeah.
this time period where you kind of get the summer kind of slowdown in Destiny. it's not accompanied with that massive amount of hype that we usually have.
Well,
for
now we're
September.
hyped for the reveal, but then the reveal is revealing something. Like I guess it'll probably reveal the season itself too, to a certain extent, and then for something 5 or 6 months away, probably, which is a bit different than a month away, which it would have been before. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you can get excited about what's coming in the season, you know, and hopefully
For sure.
maybe something
Yeah,
Savathun-ish
definitely.
and
I'm
all
excited
that.
about crossplay because
yeah,
Crossplay is a
It-
nice feature. Go ahead.
I was just like Destiny is such a perfect game for crossplay. Like being able to play with everyone and go do strikes, go do a raid, go do the new activities. Like it's really amazing for crossplay. So I'm so happy we're finally getting it.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people
So
are going to
happy.
see the squiggly thing and be like, "What platform's that? It's so weird, squiggly." What?
The squiggly.
oh, Stadia.
Stadia.
I don't even know what this is.
You can see this random ass Stadia emblem and be like, "Huh?" Or icon.
You will
S
see
for
that
Steam.
once
Got
a
it.
month, maybe.
What
Once a-
if
Yeah,
you see?
I mean, we'll get into this, but like everyone's like, "Oh, are you concerned about like Steam being integrated with console?" I'm like, how many or Stadia being integrated with console? I'm like, how many Stadia players are there really like in the
And
entire pool of Destiny?
Right.
They're
And
all
they're
in our
Those are
lagging.
comments.
controller
I'll tell you
players
that.
They've got
anyway.
like a 10-minute delay. I don't know what you're panicking about. They're
Yeah.
They even if they have an M&K and you have a controller. First of all, if you're playing on PS5 or Xbox Series X, you have a wider field of view than they do.
Mhm.
Because that's like it's like console field of view, basically.
Oh, you can't just on
Old
Stadia?
console. Stadia is locked, but you get 60 FPS
Huh.
and no cheaters. So it's it's a give and take with all platforms. It really
It
is.
really
Yeah.
is, right?
It's a complete give and take. So I wouldn't be concerned about Stadia players. Honestly, I wouldn't be concerned about regular M&K players. Concerned about cheaters, yes. But
Yeah,
regular
that is the
M&K
big
players,
concern,
not
isn't
so
it?
much.
The cheaters.
It is. I know that there's like, oh, and we want to keep things fair. And it's like, really, Bungie did a really good job at balancing controller and M&K against each other. Like it feels, with controller, you can't turn as fast. With M&K, you don't have as much, aim assist because you're
Aim
not
assist.
using your controller. But you still
Your
you
bullets-
still have aim assist on M&K. You
Yeah,
still
your
have
bullets are less
you do.
sticky versus ultra sticky.
But still pretty sticky.
still sticky.
it. They're
Still questionable.
pretty sticky bullets.
You're like, I definitely didn't aim at that guy's head, but I got a headshot.
I'll take it.
But we can obviously go into crossplay.
I think that's
Mm.
the most concerning thing to me, though, is that now all the platforms will be exposed to the cheaters that were currently kind of contained on the PC, right?
Only
No.
in
No.
PvE.
Oh, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Do we want to
'Cause
just read the TWAB of how it works?
Yeah.
Because
This is
for
legitimately
some
the
reason-
only
Actually
big
how
piece
it
of
works.
news. We might as well just jump
Yeah.
into it.
Let's just
Yeah.
jump into it. It's crossplay. So season 15 is getting crossplay. We don't have an exact date yet, but they are working on getting us a specific date for it. But it is early next season. So whatever that means, early next season.
Mhm.
So the first thing that they are jumping into, the way that they're making this all work is they're giving you a Bungie name to make crossplay work. You're gonna have a
Wow.
Bungie name, which we'll keep going, but there's gonna be people that get caught off guard by this and get stuck with like Snooty Muck Big Balls or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna be his name
They don't realize
forever.
it's permanent.
Or like Guardian
Maybe.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's true. So the Bungie name. So we didn't want to have the name over your Guardian's head change based on where you logged into the game. They wanted to have a seamless thing across all systems so everyone knows who you are. So they decided to convert everyone's name over to an identity that will remain consistent across all platforms you play from. So this is called the Bungie name. While this will cause a one-time naming reshuffle, we think this is better for everyone in the long run. So here's how it's going to work and how they're going to look. So the Bungie name will be player name #1234 when you're looking at the actual that's your Bungie name. Your display name will just be your player name. So if it's Tefty, you won't have those numbers when you're in the roster or anything. It will just say Tefty.
Right.
And of course, the numeric ID is what says that is the Tefty, the Tefty 1234, not Tefty 2356.
Number one hit in Arc Nation. Tefty. Yeah.
And I highly recommend that if you can pull it up, look at the actual TWAB because they show the UI. And Bungie in general does really good UI, but this is some good UI. I dig it. It is good. So they give an example of what the roster will look like, and it shows it's got the Bungie name, it's got the invite stuff, and it's got all these people's names and the little symbol next to their name that shows what they're playing on. Now, funnily enough, so you've got Steam, that's the Steam logo. You got Xbox,
Right.
that's the Xbox logo. Stadia, that's the Stadia logo. The controller, I assume, is PlayStation. But it's not a PlayStation logo. So I can just imagine PlayStation being like, listen, we can give you crossplay, but you're not using our logo, you heathens.
You're gonna have to pay us
Logo
an-
costs extra.
Yeah, an additional $5 per player if you want to use our logo for that.
Right.
So it's a good controller. And funnily enough, it kind of looks
Freaking
like, I guess
Sony.
it kind of looks like a PS5 controller, but it looks like an Xbox controller to me.
It does look more like an
That's
Xbox controller
pretty
to me.
confusing, honestly.
It
Yeah.
is confusing.
Because
It's just a
if
controller.
you didn't know what the other symbols were, you would assume that's like just a console player or just someone
Right.
using a controller, not
Exactly.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
When I first saw it, I assumed that it was showing the input method that someone was using.
Yeah,
but that's not
yeah.
the case.
I mean, maybe by the time it actually gets here, they'll have secured the rights to the PlayStation
The
logo or something. But that's very
It-
weird.
It also it can tell between Windows and Steam too. Is that?
It can, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like through the Windows store and the Steam store,
Hmm,
which is interesting.
that's cool.
And
Why
then they
not?
give you an example of what it looks like in the tower. So again, you don't have Tefty 1, 2, 3, 4. It will just say Tefty. And then
So
as
this
part
is
of the-
all.
Yes.
This is all to try. So let's say I log in and I'm Briar Rabbit.
Yes.
This is trying to allow me to stay Briar Rabbit, even though there's 200 people that want that name, right?
Right. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
say if you made a OG Xbox account and your name is like Salt, there's no way you're gonna be Salt on PlayStation. Someone's taking that, so they're making it a way of like you get to keep your name.
Yeah.
And in the background of everything, you have the numbers that identify you, but on the forefront, it's just gonna say your name.
It seems like an elegant solution, right?
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
does. Yep.
Yeah,
Won't
it's
there be
good.
a lot of copies of like streamer names though? And if you can't see the numbers, you won't necessarily
No,
know.
it's possible that someone may just decide that they want to be a different person till winter,
Yeah.
which would be unfortunate. But I mean, that kind of thing, it happens all the time anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
You can tell by
Yeah.
clan. Clan is always a
Mhm.
good way to tell.
Oh yeah, good
That's
point.
true. Where does it
All
pull
of
the
my
name
fashion.
from?
Thing on.
Where does it? What, Brian?
Where does it pull the name from?
So let's keep reading because
Okay.
they do detail absolutely everything in here. So, as part of the creation of Bungie names, we'll be running all player names through a character filtration process and offensive term moderation process. First, we will be stripping out all characters that we're unable to display in the game, so you can no longer be Guardian, Headshot, Hand Cannon, Sniper Rifle, Alt, Control, etc. Tab. You can't have those anymore. So, RIP to the
Shotgun
Steam
kill.
funny icons.
Shotgun kill Alt F4.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So that's gonna be gone. It's possible that due to removing these characters, players will end up with empty names or names that result in offensive terms. So if your name ends up empty or includes a moderated term, you will be called Guardian, random number.
Guardian.
I can imagine. Oh, we're gonna log in and there's gonna be so many just Guardian.
You have committed a name sin. You must
Yeah. That's gonna happen a
Branded.
lot on Steam, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's gonna happen because people are gonna forget. So.
Mhm.
They say while we won't have a name change feature at launch, we're working diligently to get you an early version of this feature this winter. So we highly recommend that you think carefully about what name you'd like to rock in Destiny 2 sooner rather than later. So it's going to work where, say you're playing on Steam and you want to be called Briar Rabbit, you want to make sure you change your name to Briar Rabbit, because when you log in, you're going to be Briar Rabbit forever.
Right. So it's
Until
gonna
winter.
do
Oh,
a
is
one
that how you
time.
do it? It pulls it from your login.
So it actually is, well, this is to find friends. I think so, yeah. From what I've read, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Or
I
it's,
figured there'd be like a sign up.
or you turn it
system
on
just for
through the
this.
website. What does this say? Crossplay with Guardians. Accept. I guess you could Alt F4 out of the game. Because there's a little pop-up that's an image in the TWAB where it says crossplay. Play with Guardians across all platforms. Crossplay is now live, and a Bungie name has been generated
Oh,
with your
yeah, you're right.
platform name. So yeah, it's when you log in, it generates it. So I guess if you're on PC, you could just close it and change your name and then log in and then press accept.
So it doesn't look like you can change it in this screen. It just says accept. So
Yeah.
that's kind of it. Interesting.
Yeah, until the name change comes in.
Yeah.
Which it will
Whenever
be
this
eventually.
happens, you're gonna want to log in early so you can get a low number.
Oh, I wonder if they're just going to randomize the number, so
Zero,
you
zero,
can't get like
zero,
I
one,
read it.
No,
two.
I want it to
001.
be. I want it to be in order.
To show how OG you are, how fast
Yeah.
you are on the pre-order button.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, make sure
Um,
you log in with, if you have multiple accounts, log in with the account that you want your name to be, and then you're good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you're a console player as well and you want to have a different name just in Destiny 2, I think you're probably just going to have to wait until winter, and then you're going to be able to do it through the website, I believe, where you can change your name. So eventually you can be whoever you want, just not right away, I think.
I want to
Yeah.
be Guardian 785.
Soon you will be able to change your name eventually. It's nice to know that that's going to be an option eventually and you're not just locked in, because they could totally have it to where I'm sure it's way easier to just have you locked in to a name.
Yeah, but pulling from Steam names or PlayStation names or Xbox names,
Yeah.
like that could go poorly for some people.
Mhm.
So it's good that they'll have a way to change it.
It will be
Yeah.
an option. Next, we're talking about rosters and friends and all that stuff. So they wanted to deliver the same simple experience no matter where your friends are playing. And in order to make it happen, they created a system to bridge the platforms called Bungie Friends.
Bungie friends.
Bungie Friends.
Friends.
So to make it easier to find a specific friend, they added a platform filter. So you will be able to search for your friend with their Bungie name and their code. And then you can also filter it if you want. So say if you don't know their code, but you know that they're on PlayStation, you could just type in their name and then filter it for PlayStation to find them easier. And then you can still see the friends who are logged into the same platform as you. So it's a different part of the roster. It's like your Bungie friends who you've added as part of your Bungie friend, and that's any platform. And then you have like your Steam friend list or your PlayStation friend list.
Mhm.
It's gonna come in
is
handy when
nice.
they perhaps make a new multiplayer shooter.
It could, yeah.
That is a
You're
good
already gonna
point.
have your
I didn't think
friends
about
list.
that, but that
Oh.
is definitely what is happening with the Bungie name.
When
thing.
they
Yeah.
suddenly launch
Yeah.
a Bungie launcher with
It's
multiple
setting
games.
up for that. Absolutely. I feel like they're doing that. So you've always been able to have clan members across multiple platforms in Destiny 2, but finally with the launch of crossplay, you'll be able to see everyone online and team up with them to earn your clan rewards.
That's
So
awesome.
they're not making the clans bigger, but you are going to be able to have everyone in one clan instead of separating it. And then you can all just play together. Which
That's
is
nice.
cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is nice. So now finding your friends. So this is how it's going to work with finding your friends. There's going to be 3 ways to do it. So you can log into Destiny 2 on any platform, and then when you turn where you want to turn platform friends into Bungie friends. So PlayStation friends into Bungie friends, Steam friends into Bungie friends, and then you can issue requests via the roster screen. So you can just straight up search for them in the game and add them to your Bungie friends list. You can also search for your friends using player search on the invite screen. And then you can also use Bungie.net Friends Finder, where you can link all of your platforms and then issue Bungie friend requests to everybody. I'm going to do that.
That's cool.
Just connect your account, send out a bunch of requests, boom, be my
That's
friend.
way better than, say, trying to use the PS5 interface to find
Oh,
people, which
yeah.
is just a nightmare.
Brutal.
So
Yeah.
that is much more streamlined.
And you can go to bungie.net/friends to make it happen.
Friends.
It's easy to remember. Just go to .net/friends.
France.
Now we're talking about in-game options. So in order to make Fireteam invites work across all platforms, we've pulled all of the invite infrastructure into the game. When you get a Fireteam invite, you'll see an in-game invite notification. To accept the invite, you'll navigate to the roster screen and then the invite section, and then you can interact with the invite to accept or decline. And that is also where you can search for Guardians to invite them. So you can do everything in this invite section. You can search for people to
Like
add them as a
that.
friend. You can invite people to your clan. You can invite people to your
Wow.
game. You can do everything.
Yeah, that's
This is
awesome.
the first time we've been able to invite people to clan in the game, right? That's always happened on the
You
You
Bungie
can-
can
website.
you
yeah.
can do it in game, but it's
Yeah.
awkward. Like you have to
Okay.
actually like go on, have them in front of you, like press them and
Yeah.
invite. Whereas
Okay.
now you can actually search for their name and invite them, which is very nice.
Yeah, I always felt like that was one of those features that I never touched, and I feel like a lot of people, like when it pops up, someone's in front of you and it says click the right stick to access their info
Yeah.
or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that to
So-
inspect people sometimes, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So now you can just do it all from one screen. You can do everything you want. Which
This is a lot
very
of
nice.
work. Like
I
it
know,
doesn't
I was
seem like it would
reading
be, but
this.
like this is like a gigantic overhaul of like how the game works in the background.
huge.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
It really is. I was reading through it on stream and I was like, I'm exhausted just reading this. You're
Yeah.
changing like your whole matchmaking infrastructure, the way that you invite people, friends, you're changing everything.
yeah,
It's I can't goddamn, it's a lot of
yeah.
work.
It's a huge overhaul. Yep.
So now, in terms of teaming up with potential new friends to help players find each other, our community has built a series of external groups, forums, and tools, including Fireteam Finder, which can now issue Fireteam invites to all platforms. So Fireteam Finder is the thing that you can do through Bungie's own app. And now you can just send invites to everybody. So they wanted to make sure that you were still able to do that and have it work for crossplay. As
Cool.
such, the invite screen allows for players to search for each other and issue Fireteam invites. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, they also did something awesome for harassment. So they talk about how members of our community have experienced targeted harassment. And in order to protect them, they've added a bunch of block systems to protect players from other players. So there's a bunch of different privacy tools. You're going to be able to change your privacy settings for your Fireteam privacy of who can just join you, Fireteam invites, who can invite you to a Fireteam, and also who can send you Bungie friend requests.
Nice.
So you're going to be able to do all
That's
that
awesome.
from within the game. So you can turn all of it off and you never have to worry about anyone
Wow.
inviting you
Wow.
or joining you or any of that. Or you can have it, like I want people to be able to, my friends to be able to join me, but I don't want anyone to be able to send me invites or send me friend requests.
Yeah.
So you can do all of that.
I wonder if there'll be a friends of friends because I always like that option.
Yeah, that's
know, 'cause
good.
Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't show it here, but hopefully it'll make
Doesn't.
the grade because it's usually a useful one because
Mhm.
Friends of friends.
usually
is
these are
nice.
somewhat trustworthy people because they're already friends of your friends, but like they're the people that you want to be sending invites to or new friend requests to. It's
Well, if
nice to have that
someone
option.
someone drops from a raid and they need to invite someone, be like, oh, I got a buddy on my list. Let me invite him real
Right,
quick.
yeah.
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 Friend of a friend type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still are going to have to go to your profile settings to change your privacy for clan invites at the moment. I just turned it off. I don't need you inviting me to your clan.
Yeah.
I don't need random
Spamming-
clan invites, random
Spamming
person.
clan invites. Yeah.
Yeah, no thank you. So you're still going to, they will eventually, at least it sounds like they want to have that as an option in here eventually. But for now, you can control everything else, which is very, very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And they do say in their code of conduct, which they updated, if you do targeted harassment against community members, you will be banned.
Banished
So don't do it.
Like they
Banished.
just banned a bunch of people.
They did just
into
gonna
ban
just
nether
that.
a bunch of
realms.
people. Yep.
Wow.
So now to Briar's question from the beginning of the show,
Yes.
a level playing field. So they're of course trying to create a global community of guardians, but make it be leveled with inputs and FPS and all that stuff. So these are your rules. I even made this a command in chat because people are very confused about everything all the time. So PC players will match with other PC players.
This is
console
for
players-
PvP,
This is for
competitive modes.
just yes.
Okay.
PC players will match with other PC players. Console players will match with other console players. Stadia is in the console pool. Fire teams with any combination of PC players and console players will match the PC player pool. For PvE modes, there is one global matchmaking pool. So
Interesting.
if you are the only time where you as a console player would ever play against PC people is if you are playing with a PC friend.
Yep.
And they will
Mhm.
not put your PC friend into a console pool because I assume they don't want people being like, let's grab Jimmy. He's on PlayStation. We can go stomp on some PlayStation people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be you will be playing in the PC pool. So there's no way that you will be on console and like randomly play against PC people on your console.
Yep. So that
that's
answers
that.
your
Easy peasy.
your hacking worries. Like hackers ruining Crucible experience for console players. It's
As
obviously
long as you stay with just console players.
yeah.
Right?
If you
Well,
don't,
No,
you'll
there's
be
literally
in the
no way.
PC pool. Yeah, like you'll be pulled into the PC pool, so you
Right.
could be on console and experience cheating if you're playing with a PC, friend
yeah.
potentially.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
it doesn't. I mean, I think it's a pretty good solution. It doesn't 100% fix the problem, but I think it's about as close as you can get reasonably.
totally.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
I'd say so.
unless they were able to plug up PC hacking officially, then that's the
Which
only
no
other.
company has done yet.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's-
we're still waiting on that one.
Yeah. So I think
okay,
it's a good
and-
solution. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's good too. It's where if you're a console player, you will never ever play with PC players unless you are playing with your PC friend. It's just not going to happen.
I can't wait to see all the Reddit posts about how people think that they're playing with console players. They're,
Oh my gosh, it's
they're gonna
so
be like,
gonna
no,
happen.
I'm definitely playing
It's
with console
so gonna
players.
happen. You're like, no, you're
You
not.
see the symbols of the people? Isn't that the whole point? Of
Yeah.
That's the whole
you
point.
can now tell what platform they're on.
And then we have how you're going to be able to talk with your friends. So when crossplay releases, voice chat is not going to be enabled between platforms because they found some bugs and they are working on it. But they do plan on having you being able to use voice chat between platforms,
That's
which
awesome.
is nice.
It's good. A lot of
Um,
games don't have that. Like outright,
a lot
it's
of them don't,
crossplay,
no.
but you can't do voice chat. So you just
I can imagine it's pretty
call your
hard
friend on Discord.
Gotta
yeah.
be. Yeah.
to do voice through different.
I don't even know
platforms.
how they're gonna do it. Honestly, I'm
I don't know
very
what it is.
curious. But
I don't know how that works.
build
at
a
all.
whole new in-game voice system. Why not?
Yeah.
Might be what they're doing.
Yeah.
But with text chat, so at crossplay launch, text chat will be available on Steam. From launch through Witch Queen, we'll add text chat support across the console platforms. So they're going to start with displaying text so you can at least see what your PC friends are talking about. And then eventually they will make it to where USB keyboards are supported just for chat. They're not allowing USB keyboards to control your character. But you will be able to plug it in and type to people.
That's actually really cool.
Between
Yeah.
launch and Witch Queen, it'll be
Mhm.
available.
That's
Nice.
cool. I wonder if they're going to start. Remember, like during the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, they'd make those little keyboards that would attach.
little
to your
things that-
Oh
controller?
yeah, the little
Yeah.
BlackBerry keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
keypads.
remember
I had
Yeah.
those.
them. I liked them.
Yeah, they were helpful.
Mhm.
Very
So-
helpful.
That little note is interesting to me. USB keyboards on consoles will be for chat only and not be able to control your character. I wonder if I was kind of wondering if they'd ever allow mouse and keyboard on consoles.
It seems
Oh,
like
I
they
just don't
really,
think they want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it seems like they're
More
really
trouble than
trying
it's
to
worth.
keep everything separate. There is an interesting note. I don't know where it was exactly. I might have gone through it because I haven't been reading everything. But they said that a note about how they want to be able to tell like your input method. So if they create a system for input method, detecting that and then making it to where you can't switch from, controller to M and K so that you're only playing against controller people with M and K. If they do that, then I think maybe that's where they could open it up to supporting mouse and keyboard on console.
I do both though, like especially if I'm playing PvE, is I'll play with mouse and keyboard, and then when I gotta like fly across the Dreaming City, I'll pick up my controller.
Well, I
I think they would
think
lock that
if they
out.
if they wanted to keep it fair, I think the only way they'd do it is they'd have to lock it and then maybe
well, that
like shut the
mildly
game down.
inconveniences me. God damn it!
Yeah, if they
I
made
li-
an actual setting in there which you designate what's your prime input method, then I could see them opening up to like mouse and keyboard pool versus controller pool.
Yeah, I would.
I
I
bet
would
they
be very
won't, though. I
excited
don't
for
know.
that. I would
We'll
be.
see.
I'd be really happy for matchmaking based on input method, especially when like the PS5s and stuff are more readily available.
hmm
But it sounds like that's something that they might be wanting to do in the future potentially. So that is pretty much crossplay. So just to give a breakdown, it's launching with season 15. We don't know when. It just says early season 15, and then they're going to be fully implementing it from season 15 up until Witch Queen. You've got the Bungie name and Bungie friends, cross-platform invites, multiplayer and matchmaking, player search, and social privacy. So that's all at launch. And then soon after launch, you're going to get cross-platform voice chat. And then winter is bringing Bungie name changes, text chat display on consoles, text input via USB on consoles, and that's it. That's
Nice.
That's
crossplay.
awesome. That's awesome.
I think they
great, yeah.
did really the best
Yeah.
with everything that they could. Really,
Just
this
hope it works
I
at
want.
launch.
Yeah, right.
Such a complicated system, you know.
It
But
is.
I'm sure they're
There's a
testing
lot
it
of
out.
changes.
I want to log in on day one and have there be a bug like everyone is like Guardian numbers, like none of the names transfer, so like everyone is randomized.
and they're all on
That is
generic
something like that.
logo.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be so confusing in your friends list.
Yeah, if this
Yeah.
goes off without a hitch, I'm gonna be very impressed because this seems like it's very complicated and like lots of moving components I can break that are going to
Yeah.
affect everything.
It seems like as big a change as moving from the Blizzard launcher to Steam,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
This
Seems
is
like it.
big.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Thank
move
God
to
for
the
that, am I
Bungie
right?
launcher in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Bungie launcher.
Seriously.
Hmm.
I don't see any downsides with this. This is just
Yeah.
all good. And like finally I'll be able to play it. When I left PlayStation, I used to play primarily on PlayStation, and I left a lot of those friends behind when I moved to PC as my primary form
Yeah.
of play. And now I play mainly on Xbox, ironically. So now like it doesn't matter where my friends are, you just be able to play with them, and that's dope. That's amazing.
Yeah, really cool. I feel like we're entering this era of gaming now. Like it's getting closer and it's going to become more and more normal. And
It's gonna be
hopefully,
like table stakes, right?
yeah,
Just everyone working to convince Sony to do it in their respective games is the main.
yeah, trying to
obstacle
convince
going
Sony
forward,
not
it
to have
seems.
to like, take a cut of all their sales because they
Yeah.
want them on that. Like,
I wonder if they had to do some sort of special deal or if Sony's just kind of like with it now. I'm not.
They're not
I'm
with
not
it.
sure.
The article just came out a couple weeks ago about how like, there's a fee that you have to pay Sony to get crossplay, because any sales that you have in like online stores, Sony believes they should have a cut on, even if you bought it on an Xbox or a Switch or
Yeah.
a PC.
I wrote one of those articles.
There you go. Maybe that's what I read.
It was from the Epic trial, and like Sony's concern is like if you play a bunch of hours on Sony, but you're spending all your money on PC, like that's ripping Sony off.
Right.
So like I don't know, for like some games though, like Borderlands has crossplay, and they left PlayStation out, but Borderlands also doesn't have microtransactions. So I feel like it's like this weird case by case basis that I just don't think they can get away with charging a fee or whatever indefinitely. That seems, I don't know, very regressive, but
Yeah.
Bungie worked it out somehow.
Sony just announced though that the PlayStation 5 is their fastest selling console ever.
Yep.
And they've sold 10 million.
10 million,
already.
right?
It's the fastest selling console ever out of
Is
any
it?
console. Yeah, because the old record was I think it was PS4. So, and that's with the supply shortage. That's
Right.
wild. Yeah.
That is insane. Yeah.
Well, it puts the supply shortage kind of in context, right? It's like they're making them faster than they've ever made any other console, and they're
Yeah.
still you can't find them in almost August.
Yeah, and you have to wonder what would have happened if supply could have actually met demand at the time,
Right.
like how high that could go. I mean,
Yeah.
Xbox is having its fastest launch for Xbox at least too. So
Yeah,
big generation.
Yeah, really is. 10 million.
that's
get,
a
like-
lot of consoles.
Crazy.
I read.
And imagine it would be so much more if people could actually get their hands on them.
Oh yeah, yeah. It would be easily double that.
Yeah, it's
I
wild.
mean, we're lucky they can even make them, because they can't make like cars right now because they can't get chips and shit. So we're just lucky
Yeah.
they can even make them.
Or Nintendo is forced to release a new Switch without a chip at all. It's just it's just hard times out there for
It's that a new
console
chip.
manufacturers.
They had to use 2013 technology. Poor Nintendo.
Mhm. It's terrible.
Poor Nintendo.
And charge $50 more than they were charging. For Nintendo.
Hey, guess what, guys?
What's that?
Iron Banner's back.
Oh,
Are
Iron
we still in the
Banner.
yeah.
Iron
Let me get my
Wolves.
party poppers.
Iron Banner. Well, actually, before we do Iron Banner, I should make sure you guys in the audience know stuff and things. So you've got 5 days left to complete your solstice armor. But you don't need to worry about the white glow. The white glow you can do wherever.
Oh, that's good.
So if it doing the dungeons and doing raid and all that stuff, you can complete them whenever. So just make sure if you care to complete the part up until the white armor goals, the white glow goals, and you can complete those whenever. You got 5 days.
5 days. 5 days,
Good
Briar.
luck. And then go in the Iron Banner.
Not happening.
I did all 3
Not gonna
sets in
make
like
it.
4 days, so it's
It's really fast, yeah.
yeah. Well, especially on the other sets, it just flies by. You can do like 4 activities and be done with like 95% of it
True.
by the end. So
Yeah.
So this is the final Iron Banner this season. So if you do want the shotgun and stuff, the sniper that they brought back is really good. Also, the hand cannon is good, and the shotgun's great. So some good stuff from Iron Banner, and you get high stat roll armor, which is cool.
That is nice.
Bungie Foundation. So we had the Bungie Foundation doing their yearly thing, and you could get the emblem, you could get the ghost shell, and you could get the new tiny tank emote, which is very cute. They raised $822,000.
Amazing.
So community, you're nuts. The Destiny community are just amazing.
Yeah,
With raising money for charity,
It's second
the
to none.
absolute crazy peoples.
they really pull it out.
Yeah.
So and the emails have started going out with your codes for all of those things if you did donate. So check your email, check your spam, check all the stuff because you may have a code to get your stuff. Good
Very
to
cool.
know. And then I think the only other thing I really want to read is the preparing for crossplay. So early in Season 15, crossplay will go live. When players log in for the first time to play Season 15, the name on whatever platform they log in on will become their Bungie name. So actually, if you don't want your PlayStation name, you could
Yeah.
just make a Steam name, log in first on PC, no matter how
Yeah.
crappy your PC is,
Mhm.
and get your name, and then you're good.
That's the play, right?
That's
It's
the
like
play.
you can
Yeah.
pick
Be who
where
you
you log
wanna
in
be.
first. Yeah.
You could probably do a
Interesting.
Stadia. Sign up for Stadia real
Probably,
quick. Make a Stadia name. Yeah,
Good one, Tassi.
Stadia. I kid.
So that is the play. Yeah. Go get on Steam. Change your name to whatever the hell you want it to be.
I'm going to add one thing to the TWAB that is not
Yes.
in the TWAB that I think they should have put in because they put it in the hotfix
Bonus point.
instead.
Ooh.
They changed it so now you can loot Master VOG and regular VOG separately. So
They
each
did,
will
yeah.
have drops now. I
that's
think
good.
a lot of people are going to miss that notification, but that's a change they made pretty quickly. So that's a new reason to run it, multiple times and not have to lock you into one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it says it's in the hotfix notes, which no one reads. But so yeah, the loot lockouts have been separated, so the play is obviously to run normal and then run master. And then pinnacle loot will only drop from the first weekly clear regardless of activity. So that's the same, but you can get double drops, basically.
Nice.
And then I highly recommend checking out one of the movie of the weeks. Destiny 1993 is what it's called.
Yeah, this is cool.
This person made Destiny in like old school Doom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really cool.
It's pretty neat.
That's cool.
It's pretty damn cool. And then the art is always amazing.
Yeah.
And that's really it for the TWAB, I think.
There it is.
They said they're going to start doing loot previews in like the next few, but I think they're just saving almost everything for their giant reveal.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
witch
I think
cream
so.
drop.
I think so. We're getting
Although
pretty
I am
close.
curious how much of that, like, it is kind of interesting. It is dropping on the day the new season starts. Like, that's
It is.
that's going to be chaos. Like, I'm wondering how much they're going to tease the new season before this. And then if that event is going to be like all Witch Queen, or like,
That's a
I'm
good
wondering if it's
point.
going to be just Witch Queen or if it's going to be Witch Queen and seasonal
a good
stuff.
point,
And then
yeah.
maybe even like Bungie's new game or something. Like, I'm curious how much they're going to pack into that one.
Maybe
event.
there's things that because it's the season leading up to it, there probably is kind of spoilerish type of things that they're wanting to keep for the launch of the season that are probably connected to showing the witch cream. So, yeah, that's probably why, if they don't like show much story wise or lead up wise to it. When is the epilogue again?
10th.
The 10th? Yeah, so we get 2 weeks.
That's soon.
Yeah, 2 weeks of
Yep.
the
I
epilogue.
don't-
Sounds very
I don't think anything will happen until that actual date. they could try and surprise us with something next week, like ahead of the epilogue, but my guess is it'll probably be all in its end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's exciting. Like can't wait to see what they show with the witch cream. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see what next season looks like too, leading up to.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to see
We know
something?
more about the
for
Witch
the
Queen
big
than we
one.
know about next season, I think.
Yeah, that's messed up,
true.
isn't it?
Which is kind of
Season
weird.
of
but
the.
I've been calling it Season of the Wish just because I'm
Season of the
assuming
wormy
it's about
waifus.
the Dreaming City.
Season of the Warlocks.
Season of the
It
Warlocks.
is season of the warlocks. That is true. Ooh.
How do you think they're going to hype it up, given that we have like a whole, we get the autumn and winter before we actually get the next big DLC? Like,
That's the big question.
That's
It's like
a
what
long
happens in
time.
those extra, because like at minimum, I think it's a 5-month season.
Yeah.
Because like September, October, November, December, like it's not going to be like January 1st. It's probably going to be no earlier than the end of January, beginning of February. That's 5 months. If it's end of February, that's 6 months. Like, so then you're really getting into.
It's a
And people are like,
long
oh,
season.
they're just gonna do like a short season in between. It's like they can't just make a new season.
Yeah.
Like, they're busy working on the Witch Queen. That's why it's delayed.
Bonus season.
I think it's gonna be like Arrivals ish, like we had last time, where I think Arrivals was like 5 months or something.
Yeah.
So that's not probably going to be great. I assume we'll have a lot of dead time and just like, oh, it's this, it's the Dawning for like 8 weeks or something, like things like that. I don't know. I'm sure maybe they plan for that a little bit, but I think we all remember that, the end of Arrivals was pretty dead too. So it's just maybe something you run into.
Maybe you can just enjoy all the new friends you're making in crossplay.
Yes, exactly.
And all the new games are going to be coming out in the fall.
Yeah, Halo Infinite. Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh my God.
my goodness. It's going to be a lot of decisions to make.
I'm struggling as it is.
I know. I was just saying that, Watts. I'm trying to play Skyward Sword. I'm trying to play Metroid for Retro Slot. really want to play the Ascent. Like, there's so much to play.
There is so much.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, no games are coming out. They're all getting delayed." But I'm like, there's so many games.
Yeah, and then you got the Ghost expansion.
Yeah, when's that?
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
soon.
The 20th.
September?
Yeah, it's
August
20th.
20th.
Oh,
That was August.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
man.
So it's funny because I think on SideQuest we were like, no one releases games in the summer. Why don't you guys just like release games in the summer? And they're like, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, we will.
August now especially is like pretty much a fall holiday month now. At this
There's
point,
so many games that came out this past week. It was like Death's Door, and then there were a bunch of other indie games that I found out about, and Song of Iron is coming out soon, and there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This whole year is going to be kind of crazy because so much stuff got pushed from last year, so it's going to start hitting then, and then some stuff that was supposed to come out this year will get pushed further because that's how development works. But like, still, we're going to see a pretty sharp increase, I think.
Yeah.
And Ghost of Tsushima, they've officially said that the Iki Island is about the same length as the first act of Ghost of Tsushima.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good.
Which
That's
is
good expansion length.
It's pretty substantial, I'd say.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they shared some screenshots. Oh man, delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Looking good.
Grime's coming out in a few days.
Mhm.
Oh Lord.
okay.
Oh Lord, I can't defeat 10 bosses in that other game before then. It's simply impossible. The game is too hard.
How many bosses have you beat?
2. This is the third one.
How many hours are you in?
Oh, I only played for like 2 hours, I think. Or an hour,
Oh, you'll kill it. No problem.
maybe. I'll get good.
Yeah, just one shot him.
And you just gotta.
Oh, Diablo Resurrected. Someone's in chat said that. Yeah, now that's become like a moral dilemma. Great.
Yeah, I'm skipping on it.
Is that the
never
phone
play
game?
Another Blizzard game.
No, that's Immortal. That is also. I don't think that's coming out this fall, but
Resurrected is Diablo 2?
yeah, that's September something. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to hard pass
Well,
on that.
Ken and Bridge of
Definitely.
Spirits got delayed to September, so
Yeah, that's
Okay,
unacceptable.
September. Well, it's better
I was okay
than-
with it because it came out at the same day as the new season. The same.
Yeah, I remember it was
day.
going to be a moral dilemma on that. I'd be like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to play Kina, but new season. Yeah, so I'm actually happy that got pushed.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually be able to. I hope, maybe. Who knows? I'm gonna say maybe I'm gonna be able to enjoy it and spend all my time in it. But there's a game that I find out like the day before it releases, and then I'm like, well, goddamn, this looks like an amazing game. I want to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
You're all
Was it
forgetting
not-
the Avengers War for Wakanda expansion.
I
Thank
heard
you
it
very
was
much.
great. The most recent thing was great and perfect. That's what I heard.
Yeah, you must have been reading some articles about it then. But as much as I shit all over that, I am very excited for the Black Panther expansion. Actually, like,
Yeah.
I give this game like 5th and 6th chances, but this is like the actual expansion, so I'm still pumped for that. That's August 17th.
The real redemption story for Avengers.
I
No, I
want to
think
jump
it's
into that
screwed.
game.
Like, I mean, there's no way that this is going to pull the player base they need for them
Yeah.
to keep developing content
No.
like over the years. So they're screwed either way. I still want to play it, but I think they're kind of done.
Wow.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That seems like just a huge swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Too bad.
It just shouldn't have been live service. I think they could have made a really solid like single player plays a bunch of people Avengers campaign and then
put out expansions with new characters with a little bit of a new story, and
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah. The biggest turnoff for me with that game is, I think somebody was explaining. I haven't played the game, so I might get this wrong. But you could buy like stuff for your like your Hulk, like a vest that would up your armor or something. But then
Yeah.
it wouldn't be displayed in game.
no loot is displayed on your character.
Yeah,
So-
none of it.
So, some other games have tried this, like Anthem, like all armor in Anthem was not displayed, and you had to buy armor sets. And yet in that game, at least you still had like a gun you were holding. Whereas
Yeah.
Avengers, you don't have that. Like you have the Hulk who has hands, and so you get like an upgraded Hulk rib cage is like one of your pieces of armor. And you're not displaying your rib cage, needless to say. So like, but even the stuff that is gear, like, oh, you get a new Black Widow belt. It doesn't change your belt. Like all of that is cosmetic, and almost all of that is sold as microtransactions. And
That's sad.
the content they have been putting out the most consistently has been cosmetic microtransactions. So
Yeah, it's insane.
Not great.
That was my biggest complaint.
Interesting.
I was like, I got this cool stuff, or I got new loot, and it was like, good. It's a
Very
stat.
hard to get
It's a
excited
number.
about
for you.
new loot
Yeah.
that you can't see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
I was just gonna say,
Is it too
imagine
soon?
imagine
Too
Destiny.
soon?
Imagine if Destiny did that, where you didn't change your look, or even your gun didn't really change, but like
Got more recovery, Tefty. More recovery.
yeah, more
on
recovery.
the cape. Same cape.
It's just a mod. It changed it. Like that would be such a weak experience in comparison.
Yeah.
It's totally antithetical to the concept of a looter, just period. So
Yeah. Yep.
that's why it didn't really work. And like, but even if it did change your look, that wouldn't have worked either. Because like, if you have Iron Man and all this mismatched armor, like that would just look stupid. So they were kind of between a rock and a hard place. So
It's tough. Yeah.
should really make a superhero looter probably.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Established
they also
characters.
ran into like Marvel saying, we can't just change the way our heroes look.
That also may be true. Yes. And like it sucks because like the costumes they have are actually really good, and like taking like cool superhero photos in photo mode is a lot of fun. But yeah, that part of it is just a total mess.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
I think we're ready.
Question time.
All right. Hey, Blaze says, no question today. Just wanted to wish Watts a belated happy birthday and hope
Oh,
everyone at
thank
DCP
you.
has a great weekend. Thanks, Blaze.
Thank you. That's
Mhm.
very nice.
Breezes Christ says, if Blizzard still had Destiny, would you guys still play it?
All right, I saw this question, and
Yeah,
it's such a moral dilemma. I feel like I don't know, honestly. At that point,
I think as long as the employees are not working, I would have not played it. Like as long as the employers are like,
I mean,
I don't know if strike is the right word, but they're like
Well,
refusing to work.
see, also Bungie is still a different company, and
right. That's the thing.
You know what
It's
I mean?
Like, we're not hearing
That's
like crossover really between. You like when they were working with Blizzard. I don't know if it was like. It doesn't seem to be like the same people, that were over at Bungie too.
True.
It's just like they were partners.
yeah, it was technically a
yeah.
publishing deal with the being in their
Right.
launcher.
And I mean, they had help. They had Vicarious Visions and people
Mhm.
like that. But
Yeah, I mean, Destiny would never be a Blizzard IP. In other words, it's like Diablo, Warcraft, World of Warcraft. Those are IPs. Overwatch, they're IPs from Blizzard.
How about Call of Duty?
Yeah, Call of Duty. Like,
well, that's like the only game Activision makes.
Yeah.
Essentially, like that and Crash Bandicoot remakes. So
I don't know. I'd still like any money I spent. I'd know eventually was going to wind up in Bobby's
yeah, I
dirty
guess
little
that's true.
pockets.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
It is tough. It's like I think absolutely if they're protesting, I wouldn't be playing any game while they're protesting, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd want to show solidarity with that. With that, when it's your job, it's you know.
No,
it
no,
is
I mean that's a
definitely
real
really
dilemma.
hard.
It's like, do I stop covering all Activision Blizzard games and pretend they don't exist? Like that's like, but aren't I hurting people also that are like innocent or victims themselves in doing that? In like total like
Right.
calling for a boycott or coverage boycott or whatever of these certain like. It's I don't even know the answer to that right now. It's something I got to think about too. But it's how many people are getting hurt after the fact if it's like a mass boycott because you don't want to pay whatever executives. It's
Yeah,
complicated.
the problem is the only way to truly hurt the executives who have been sweeping this stuff is to hit them in the
Right.
finances, and
In
the
the
finances is
pockets.
where you spend your time and money.
But if you get hit in the finances and then they're like, all right, we're going to lay off 1,500 people that
Yeah.
want their jobs.
And
It's like,
you know
well,
what? I could use a bonus.
yeah, exactly. It's like, Bobby made 150 mil last
But
year. And
the thing is, he's still laid off a bunch of people, regardless.
yeah, exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
So imagine what happens if they actually lose money.
well, it's the shareholders. It's like if they're not
Right.
showing these profits for the shareholders, then it's their heads essentially.
Yeah. You got to piss
well,
off
that was the story of
shareholders.
the week where like all this came out, stock price did nothing. And then finally the employees were like, okay, we're going to walk out. And then the stock dropped. And then Bobby comes out with a statement that's like, ho, 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 okay, we're working on things. Don't worry. And then the next day the stock goes up again. It's like, investors are very irritating in terms of what they respond to and what they don't.
Yeah, I think, whatever happens with this, I think it is going to shake things up a lot. At least I hope it will.
It's got it.
And I hope that we see some real change, because this is something that we haven't really seen before, right? Where a state is suing a game company for the awful things that they've been doing.
Right.
So I hope it
How
does change
bad
some
does it
things.
have to get for that
How
to
bad?
happen?
I mean,
Yeah,
they sued
exactly.
Riot the Riot thing was pretty similar to this. Maybe that
true.
was maybe less vocalized, but it was pretty similar. And I mean, that ended up being a pretty big settlement that had a big payout. But
Good.
I don't know if Riot is like changed or reformed or whatever at this point. But
Has there been any information on how far back the suit goes?
They were doing
they
the
said some of the
investigation for
stuff
2 years,
was so the lawsuit investigation started 2 years ago, but some of the stuff
Yep.
they were finding was at least a decade ago.
Okay.
Which is like that was part of Activision's statement. They're like, some of these incidents were like 10 years ago. It's like,
and I was like, that's not the own you think it is, my
Yeah.
friend.
Jesus.
Listen, this has been happening since 10 years ago. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like,
It's the brush off mentality. Be like, it's always
Yeah.
been this
Oh,
way.
it was-
Why make a big deal about it? It's like, come on.
and their statements about it have definitely got people even more riled up and wanting to be like, you know
Mhm.
what? Well, absolutely not. Because if you're saying anything other than this is disgusting and this needs to change, then you shouldn't be saying anything. And that's really kind of solidified it in people's mind as well, where it's like, well, this didn't happen, and then you're like, I want things to change and we're going to make a big change. This happened, and then you're like, oh, these bureaucrats. So
Mhm.
it kind of really solidified people not
Yeah.
caring anymore.
I don't think they
There have been
I don't think they truly
there ha-
responded to the walkout either.
no. There have
No.
been a bunch of high profile Blizzard kind of people who left over the last couple of years. I wonder if they saw this coming.
Well, a lot of them were in charge during many of these incidents. And what
Right.
I've heard is that, it's unclear what everybody knew, but like they were, supervising, these times and did not fix these issues, when they were there. So like they're the ones making more forceful statements and apologies now, like your Mike Morhames and, people like that. But like they were there when a lot of this stuff was happening in charge. Like not that they were, doing things themselves necessarily, but they're more free to like actually apologize now. But it's like, but what were you doing at the time?
Yeah.
Axis says, hi, DCP. What are your expectations and hopes for the Witch Queen reveal event in season 15?
Mm.
I hope it's going to be hype as fuck.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you know what? I want to see just a little smidgy, give me something breadcrumb of updating the old subclasses.
Ooh, yes.
It doesn't
weren't
even
they
have to
supposed to be
be
doing
like,
that this season? And I thought that
I
was
don't
season
know.
15. I thought that's what they said originally, was they were going to at least start doing that
Yeah, I thought that too.
in season 15.
I hope so. I want to see. Don't care what it is. Don't care about Arc and Solar. Give me Void. I'm gonna get excited. It's gonna be. I
As,
would love to see that. I would die.
as much as stasis has been a problem, I would be very excited to see a smidge of what the new dark
Just a little
subclass
smidge.
is going to be doing. Like, is it
Yeah, that's something I
poison or-
definitely want to see.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, are we
I,
gonna?
I really just don't want this to be like a Witch Queen trailer and then that's it. Like, I really hope they do kind of go into things in a bit more detail, even if it is far away, because as cool as that would be, I think it's time to kind of have a larger.
But
you
they
know,
are.
event
They do have
into
that
something
6 month
they show
period.
True. Yes. So, it won't be finalized, but yeah, I definitely want to see the Dark subclass.
Yeah.
Any maybe not new enemies, but like whatever swamp hive concoction they come up with, or something like that. I'm curious about that.
Hive.
Yeah.
Hive
Yeah.
from Florida.
Florida Hive.
Which NPCs are involved? We know they've already said Ikora is, but who else are going to be the major players of Witch Queen besides
Yeah.
the Witch Queen? But,
Shayuda. She's gonna come and destroy us all.
Mm.
Mylan's gonna tell us all about that. Mylan was on Twitter
was
causing
that
a
how you
ruckus.
pronounce that?
I have no idea. It
Sure,
just sounds
sure.
Shayud. He was causing a ruckus on Twitter, getting people all riled up. So he's gonna tell us all about her next
Nice.
week. Actually, it's gonna be fun.
The Nightmare says, do you think mouse and keyboard support should be added to the consoles after crossplay is implemented?
Kind of like how we talked about, if they made it so that you could lock your input method, and then they could make a mouse and keyboard pool, and then a controller pool, and separate those
You guys think
properly.
it's that big a deal to have them together?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why they're separating the PC population.
Oh, you think so?
Personally
I don't think that's why.
I don't
Yeah,
like. I obviously
is
I
why.
play on PC. I use a controller, and it's the easy peasy lemon squeezy for the most part.
That's
Every
'cause
now and
you're a
then,
psychopath.
every now and then, you come up against a player who's like they're doing things that I cannot even think of doing on a controller, and I'm just dead. But for the vast majority of my experience in Crucible, it's cool. It's chill.
yeah. But so this is like a partly political thing in the game ecosystem. Like, there's going to be people who are really going to, if they know that they might match against someone playing with mouse and keyboard, then they're automatically assuming that they're at a disadvantage, and automatically assuming that it's not worth playing, and they don't want that perception with the game. So I think it's actually more on that side than it is the reality of it, because you're right. If you're decent with a controller, you're going to be able to go up against most PC players on mouse and keyboard, Yeah. And you're not going to be going against the 1% of the mouse and keyboard PC player population. But anytime you're heated and you die to someone doing something crazy, then you're like, well, that person's a 1% freaking insane god key gamer. I'm mad that Bungie let me matchmake against them, So they don't want that.
And like they could combat that by showing, I guess, input method of people, but then that would probably lead to harassment of people, like hate messaging, mouse and keyboard people on console or something. But so I just think it's more trouble than it's worth in the end.
Yep.
Mad Geek says, 1, happy birthday, Watts. 2, for Paul, would you ever do a duel to the death with Destin on how much vault space is too much vault space? If not, why not?
Yes, there's not enough vault space to satisfy Destin. It's just impossible. So I could debate the need for vault limits to a certain extent, but in a looter, especially now that sunsetting's gone, like, I mean, they have to increase it again now. Like, it's going to be impossible not to, because the whole point was like, okay, we're sunsetting stuff. You can kill like most of your sunset weapons and armor and stuff, but now we're keeping everything indefinitely, so we definitely need more slots, because like I'm trashing stuff that I genuinely would like to keep otherwise now. And so we haven't heard about that, but I would assume at least by the Witch Queen we'll have another bump there.
Philly Rhino says, "Greetings. I have recently gotten back into Destiny, and by recent I mean today. I am not about to. I am about to embark in the story missions. After I complete the main Beyond Light story, what do you suggest I focus on for content? A lot has been added since 11. Hashtag commas for Briar."
You know, I don't know if Paul has a better idea about this, but I would love to learn how to answer this question because I'm always like, I don't know what's in the game. I don't know what's gone from the game. I don't know what's new. I don't know how you get that. I don't know anything. I can just tell you, I normally am like, just, go experience the game, go do strikes, and go patrol a little bit.
Well,
I'm kind of curious how seasons like work now. If
I was
you
gonna
are
say,
just coming
right?
in, it's like because they would have to buy the individual seasons to do the seasonal content in addition to Beyond Light, unless they bought the whole pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for the year. So I mean, if they have the seasonal content, they could start, trying to do some hunt stuff and then move into Chosen and then move into Splicer. But
True.
it's like having all of that displayed at once is like pretty. Like, where do you
Overwhelming.
even start? And
I
like,
can
I'm not
imagine
gonna go tell him to talk to
Yeah.
Shah Han and do that quest line because that just sucks. So
I can imagine it has to all be displayed, right? Because Bungie wanted to keep like that year of content available for everyone. So I guess
Yeah.
it has to be where it's like, go talk to this guy to go do hunt stuff. Go talk to this person for battlegrounds.
I might honestly skip ahead to Splicer stuff just to be current with the rest of the
That's what I would
population.
do. Yeah.
And
then work back.
right, and then like I would like I'm not gonna go tell them to do like 30 night not or wild hunt things like whatever. But like you should do like presage. Like that is a great quest that you should be doing, even though it was last season. Doesn't really matter. Like I would still do that, and like I would do some runs of battlegrounds because I think that's kind of unique content too. But there's definitely some stuff you can skip for sure.
That's maybe a good call, is just to say like start with the most recent season and get caught up with story stuff so you're ready for the next drop, and then just go back and do whatever content you find interesting. Like if you don't like doing Season of the Hunt, don't do it.
And
Like
then,
if somebody tells you got to get this gun, go back and do that content that gives you that gun or that's that exotic or something.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think this is one of the core problems with Destiny right now is that when you come back to it, or if you're a new player, you do that. We were saying last episode that you do the beginning mission or whatever the new light mission, and then you get dumped into all these things that you could possibly do from the director. And what do you do first? It's just you don't know. Like aside from just checking off power drops, there's just so much that you could possibly attack.
Well, and free to play, especially if you're just starting, it lost so much that like it's hard to even know where to start because like if you're free to play, you pretty much just have the Shah Han stuff now, and then like the playlists, and then you have really random stuff like Prophecy and Bog, but like you're not gonna be ready for either of those if you're a brand new player.
Yeah.
So there's a very wide gap I think between the intro mission they set up where like I think it teaches you the basics pretty well, but like and then the free end game content they have, like it is a wide gap in between that because they deleted the whole New Light campaign. So
Right. Yeah.
Clancy 5000.
this is why Forsaken needs to be free.
Yeah.
So more to do.
Clancy 5000 says, has there been a weapon or weapon type that you really wanted to use in PvP because it's cool and you love the idea of it, but every time you use it, it just doesn't quite click?
Ooh.
Most SMGs outside of Shurioyas, but I mean maybe since Reckless, it just I don't know. I think they're just outclassed.
I'm gonna have to look through Dim.
Yeah, what was that new shotgun that came out this season? That was cool, but
Griswalker? Or there's a couple, but
can't remember the name of it now.
Are you talking about Duality?
Yes, Duality.
yeah.
Duality is like one of the king of shotguns.
Yeah,
now.
people love Duality now.
I loved it too, but I was terrible with it.
I would say
Have you tried since the nerf?
Yeah.
it got hit pretty hard.
It got shifted.
Yeah.
I would also say scout rifles, just because there are barely any maps even built for scout rifles, and like they don't really have a place in range anymore compared to all the alternatives. So But Bungie has literally said outright they do not want a scout rifle meta. So
Yeah, I
Good
agree
luck.
with that too.
Yeah.
He has a follow-up question. If you could hang any famous piece of art on your wall, what would it be?
Jackson Pollock.
I need to know more about art to answer that question. But
I have the DCP posters, both framed and hanging on the wall.
Nice.
I don't know how famous they are, but they're famous to me.
Listen, you give that 500 years, that's got to be worth at least 100 grand minimum.
Just need Ash to make it really big, really famous, and then I'm in it.
Oh, I know. So when I went to the Ghibli Museum in Japan, they had a bunch of the like original art pieces of sketches of like character design and all that stuff for the movies. I would love to own like an original, even if it's like sketches where they're trying to figure out what the character's going to be. That would be really
That'd be
awesome
really cool,
to
yeah.
have something like that. Even just from games, right? Where they were sketching ideas for an area or ideas for a character would be really cool. Okay.
Doughboy says, do we need a change in how weapons roll, like a weapons 3.0 update? I find I don't get as excited to grind out a weapon like I used to.
Yeah, I feel this actually. And I don't bring it up too often because I feel like a lot of people are excited about when new just minutia of weapons come out and excited to get some of those new changes. And like for me, I actually, Briar, you bring it up quite a bit, like new archetypes, new overall weapon archetypes that could dramatically change the sandbox. And I understand why they don't, because it's a ton of work. They'd have to reshape PvP. They have to think about all these things, how fast you can melt a raid boss or a strike boss and all that stuff. So I get why they don't do new archetypes and all that stuff and new types of weapons. But I feel like it's missing dramatically right now from the Destiny experience. It's been, 6 years? And we're experiencing most of the same stuff that we had in Destiny 1. We have had new stuff, linear rifles and trace rifles and stuff like that and grenade launchers. But I feel like Destiny is in need of an overhaul in the weapon system.
I don't know. Like I think they've done a pretty good job, generally speaking, with the new perks, and they're putting out new perks consistently.
New perks are very fun.
I just think for me, it's mostly like I don't mind. Actually, I like grinding out stuff that there's like an abundance of sources. So like I got every override weapon I wanted because it was so easy to get those, and then eventually some of them drop with double perks and stuff. But then you have some stuff like Iron Banner. There is zero way to target farm anything, so like that just feels immensely frustrating trying to get any roll of any Iron Banner weapon.
True. Yeah.
GMs or just any Nightfall weapon also feels bad because even GMs are far from guaranteed drops of Nightfall weapons, and then plus you got to factor in the randomness on the rolls there, and like I can't have it in me to run like the same strike 40 times and get like 2 potentially okay rolls out of like 8 total drops. Like that to me is like too many layers of things. So
what if it was a brand new weapon type though that you can only get from doing that high-end content?
And that would be its own sort of controversy because people would think that is gatekeeping. And I mean, it would certainly be a motivator. It's just from Bungie's perspective, it's like, okay, what's the GM clear rate? Like,
yeah,
2% or whatever. Like, are we going to design an entirely new archetype just for the 2%? Like, I think that's kind of the calculation.
Obviously, it wouldn't be just there, but like if they, how they seem to slow introduce things at this point. Like if they brought in the first legendary whatever that showed up right there, and then it came into a few other spots. Iron Banner has one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think some of the adept things are kind of underwhelming. Like, I don't know if I'm perfectly fine with my like god roll normal Nightfall weapons as opposed to like, I really got to have that adept version when it's just not adding enough to make it worth it and like to make that farm worth it. So I haven't really been doing that at all because I don't see the benefit being worth, the 40 hours I would need to put into it.
Didn't they specifically cite that as they didn't want the adept versions to outclass those guns to make it feel like it was gatekeeping? Like it was going to give you a little bump to a stat that you could feel as a high-end player, but it's not going to make it feel like you don't have good guns anymore because
Right.
these
Yeah.
adept weapons
Exactly.
exist. Yeah.
And like I think it's working for some people. It's just not. It hasn't been enough to motivate me to do that. For more than a handful of times. Where like I have seen some people being like, I did 30 GMs today and like got my runs down to like 14 minutes and like it is working for some people. It's just I don't for a certain crowd that I just don't think it's kind of worth it. Given the general sense of these weapons that are offered. And also I'm not a huge fan of all the GM stuff being like Destiny 1 stuff brought back. Like I think there's a limit on how interesting that is because I think new weapons are more interesting and better in D2 a lot of the time. And I think nostalgia can kind of cloud things a bit where like I can't really get that excited about Shadow Price or Palindrome, honestly, but
That's where I'm at right
I
now.
don't know. Maybe that's just
Like I see those weapons
I,
and I'm just I'm not feeling it.
this is the thing. For me, it's all about the perks, which has made like plug one, for example, rolling with cornered is so fun. I find it hard to use anything other than the plug one with cornered at this point because it's just so fun and it can shoot so fast and then you go on crazy sprees and it's amazing. So plug one itself, I hear that and I'm like, I don't really care. But in terms of the perk, like changing the way that I play, changing a fusion rifle that normally I wouldn't use. Normally I'd use something like a Glaciocasm that's that really high impact. But I'm addicted to the plug one. It's true.
I will
it's
also
great.
carve out an exception for the plug one, which I also love.
Yeah, perks can really, I mean, essentially perks make the gun, right? So if they're making
Yeah.
interesting and awesome perks that change the way you play or maybe make you want to use a different weapon type, then that gets exciting for me because then I'm switching up what I'm using because of this cool new perk.
Michael Ormsby says, as a clan founder, would you think it would be a good idea to have faction wars back, but using clans instead? Points for activities completed? ? Clan with the most points after a set time frame win an exclusive emblem.
Wow. If you don't have a maxed
like
out clan,
that.
you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that would be like Battle of the Huge Clans.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you they are never bringing factions back. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Like, I'm part of the world's tiniest clan, which is like me and two other people. But,
Are they all journalists?
It's clan journalists. Yeah, they wouldn't let me fit the
The
whole word in there.
Writers Clan. Pen and paper.
I'm not opposed for something like that. I just don't know if they would actually do it.
I have always wanted them to fully realize some sort of faction rally or whatever you want to call it, some sort of thing. Like the game desperately needs that other PvE element of something coming in. Like it was supposed to be Iron Banner, and what was the very first one called that lasted one weekend, and that was it.
Oh yeah, what was that called?
The Queen's something. The Queen.
Oh yeah,
the Queen's Wrath event.
Queen's Wrath.
Yeah.
Like that was they were supposed to be these events that change up PvE in some way, where like Solstice is kind of doing that, but this was something that would happen like once a month or once a weekend or something like that would come in just like Iron Banner and shake things up. And I wish they would realize something like that in the game because I think it would be really cool. I'd like to see changes happen in patrols and strikes and all that give you these things, these changes in the environment that feel fresh for a week,
What did you do in Queen's Wrath again? Like, what was that event? I don't even remember.
Was it
I remember some of the
bounties?
weapons.
It was bounties.
I feel like it was.
I think it was bounties.
It was bounties.
Everything was bounties.
Yeah.
The original.
It was from the very
Yeah.
beta. We were doing
Okay.
bounties for new loot.
Yeah, it
and
was
armor.
nothing special, but it brought in a source of different weapons that you could potentially get. And what was the sniper? The beloved? No, not beloved.
No,
It was
Benevolence.
yeah, right?
yeah.
Someone in chat will know.
I thought it was.
The Queen.
That's what they put
Queen's Wrath.
into the Last Wish, right? They put
Yeah,
some of those
mhm.
weapons in there.
Yeah, the fusion, the sniper.
The Supremacy sniper rifle.
Yeah, it wasn't called
Technian
Supremacy
Force.
though, was it? Was it called
Technian
Supremacy?
Force was the fusion
Her
rifle.
benevolence. I think it was her benevolence.
Yeah.
Because that for a long time, like you had to have completed that event. And
Yeah,
gotten
you
a
only
good roll
had
on that sniper.
You
or
literally
it
had
was-
one weekend.
There were
You
years where you could never.
Yeah,
get
The
you only
most rare.
only had one
Yeah.
weekend, and you could get short gaze on it, and it was an incredible sniper. And if you had that, it was like, whoa, you lucked out that you just happened to get that to drop that weekend playing on that. Yeah, the event wasn't good, obviously, and like a lot of people complained about it, but it was cool to get that loot, and it was cool that there was like a thing that happened in the PvE world, and I wish that more PvE events would happen that change
I
things
did not
up.
mind faction rallies. Like they needed work, but I liked them existing rather than not existing. And I do miss something like that, and I do not think any of the events they have come up with since then are quite the same thing.
There's an intrinsic problem with these, though, is that they're fun the first time, but they're by nature repetitive, right? So if you bring them back every month, people are going to get sick of them. Whereas
True.
Iron Banner, at least you're in the Crucible, right? So like
You're
it
at
feels a
least
little
doing
different.
something.
Yeah. Whereas like so many of these like events have been, all right, go run something as efficiently as you can for hours on end to maximize like the drops from it.
So I hear
And
you. I think they can change that though with modifiers and being creative with the way that they switch the sandbox up for those events. And I like there used to be a lot more modifiers for strikes in D1, and I think it's a real miss that they haven't brought those things back and made more modifiers. I think strikes would be a lot more interesting if there was just a lot more
true.
changes to the modifiers in general in there. And if PvE events came in and brought those things in, like suddenly explosions are happening every time you get a headshot with a solar gun, no matter what gun it is. Like suddenly you're changing up how the format feels and can spice it up. So, but they need a lot of those. They can't just have like there's 3 modifiers that rotate and it's like you know
I'm
which one it
telling you.
is.
I really want for the rotating patrol area to get like difficult.
Yes.
And I
That'd be cool.
understand that for new
Sort of
players
did
joining
that,
the
yeah.
game, they're like, you know, you don't want them rolling up into 1350 content on a planet. They're just trying to like do for a quest or something. But I've always really liked, and I liked what they did in D1 with the massive bosses that would randomly spawn and everyone would jump on them to kill them. I like
that
that.
was cool.
And I would love to see more of that where there is like a big world boss that spawns, you kill it, it's got like some specific loot that drops from it, even if
Yes.
it's just, you know, a pair of arms.
I mean,
I
Beyond
would love
Light
stuff like
did
that.
almost exactly that in a lot of ways. Like I don't know if they went far enough, but they did. They
Yeah.
do have like the hard zone every week where there's like additional things spawning, but you get like
That
more
is true.
stasis recharge, and then they were dropping like those giant, whatever the fallen tank
Yeah,
things
the
are
mech
now,
dudes. Yep.
the standing ones, the breaks, and like at least when you were like under level when Beyond Light first started, like those things were huge and like they had
They
massive
were,
health
yeah.
bars. So like they were kind of doing the world boss thing, and those would drop Europa exclusive loot, and yet that was only interesting for about a week, and then everyone over leveled, and then none of it mattered ever again. So
Yeah, it's because they didn't design it for endgame in that way.
right,
Right?
yeah.
Like if they
Yeah, I
legitimately
think
took a
that's what I would
patrol.
like.
Yeah, if they legitimately took a patrol and made it end game, like people are saying Grandmaster patrols or something like that, but some sort of element like that where they actually made it decision to make it end game and give rewards that are end game and also some modifiers that can change up to make it fresh.
I would love that because I think Destiny is really special when you get a bunch of random people together doing something. So EP was awesome for that. You know, there's a group doing EP. I'm gonna hop in and try and complete it with them. That was a really awesome feeling. And same with the world bosses from D1. So I would love for there to be an end game kind of location where there's these big world bosses and everyone's coming together, whether you're friends or not, just random people in the world coming together to take down a boss and get loot.
Yeah, so like I've been playing Altars of Sorrow and Blind Well a bit for Solstice and for some of the new loot and
Yeah.
stuff, and like it's actually really fun to go back and do
It
that.
is.
And the problem with, you know, they're like, okay, people want match made, you know, playlist things. They don't want world events anymore. I think they learned the wrong lesson. The problem was instancing, is where you would go into these things and you'd be the only one there. If they can figure out how to instance these correctly, like has happened kind of over the past few weeks with people actually farming these, it's really fun. The problem now is that we have just dramatically over leveled for all these. So like Blind Well is just, you can like AFK through Blind Well now, and like it would be nice to have an actual challenging, you know, version of that with good rewards that you could do now. But
it goes back to Bungie not quite figuring out yet how to reuse areas that are in the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
adding one new boss fight at the end of Blindwell, drop something new. Boom. People want to go do Blindwell. It's difficult now. There's something new that you can get. But they have not mastered that yet of coming back to really awesome things that they make and not utilizing them.
Yeah,
fully.
those patrol spaces are amazing.
Always been a problem. Yes.
Yeah, patrol is awesome. It's totally underutilized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was one of the cornerstones of D1 that you'd be like, oh, I got to go do patrols. And there was a lot of things connected to making you having to go and do patrols. You need to level up weapons. I got to go do some patrols and these bounties.
True.
A little bit. They've done that a bit with Legendary and Master Lost Sectors, which are in patrol. I mean,
True,
they're still
that's a
kind
good
of your
point,
own
yeah.
unique thing.
Yeah.
But people really like those. Yeah, I mean that was a good addition, I'd say. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when they're actually dropping things and you don't go on like a dry spell of 20. But I think that was a good addition, and that's a lesson I think they could take into like out in the open patrols as well.
Yeah.
With still protecting blueberries somehow, but also
Yeah.
posing a challenge in certain instances.
Zaosiris says, would you guys ever consider hosting a new series where you talk directly with community members and ask their take on specific elements within the game? Kind of like how radio stations have call-ins with random listeners. I think that would be super awesome.
Does sound awesome. It's something that I think would be really cool. I think you'd have to obviously vet them beforehand, but maybe you could do a thing where they're not necessarily a guest, like a full-on DCP guest, but there's someone calling in and giving their opinion on something.
I stand in the way of this every time it gets brought up, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. First of all, it's a ton of work. You have to vet people before they come on, and then technically to bring in callers and take out callers live on air, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
Second of all, you have no idea, like, if this person, when they get on air, is going to be able to talk in an intelligible way. You have no idea if it's going to be entertaining for a listener. This has been brought up for this show a lot of times, and the reason I stand in the way of it is because I don't like call-in radio shows. I don't find them entertaining. Like, I listen to a radio show to hear the host talk, or to hear, a podcast to hear the host talk, not necessarily like some random person kind of interrupting. I think that I like the Twitter questions idea because by nature, because Twitter is a short format, it allows us to read out a Twitter question. And you see how I struggled reading these things sometimes. Like, it's not always coherent thoughts. So it's really difficult. We have people who are, community members, people who are used to be on a microphone kind of lock up when they come on the show. So it's
True. Yeah, I think there could maybe be a middle ground where it's like maybe a clan leader or something, or someone who's running a lot of LFG or helping a lot of people through raids, but they're not necessarily a streamer or content creator in any capacity.
Yeah.
It could be interesting to talk to them.
I think it'd be better as a one-off, right? So we would
Yeah.
just have one show suddenly where we just invite people on, but
That could
I
be
don't
fun.
think making it a series, it's a ton of work to do call-ins.
It is a lot of work, yeah. As professional and streamlined as we have this show, you'd think we'd have the capacity for that.
I mean, I was only a writer really before I came on this show, and like I've been on a couple shows now, but like you guys really helped me like kind of branch out in this. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be doing YouTube and stuff right now if I haven't been on the show so many times and like gotten used to kind of this whole format. So
Awesome.
I appreciate that opportunity there.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
That's really cool.
I lost my place. I'm sorry.
Unforgivable.
Newt, hashtag Black Lives Matter, says, take a guess at how many electrical wires there are in your office.
Everyone's face.
I have.
There are in my office.
lot.
So my office is not just my office. It is almost also where Tomo plays games.
Oh, yeah.
So our desks are back to back, and so we have 3 computers plugged in and like 6 monitors, 3 game consoles. So it's a disaster. I don't look under the desk. I ignore it.
I have 6
Sorry.
monitors and a CRT TV in here.
You
I
guys
have
all have more
every
than me.
video game console set up that's been made since like 1982.
Nice.
I clearly have like the blandest setup in existence. So I have like nothing compared to you guys.
I have a 300-point patch bay for audio. That's nearly 100% wired up.
A lot of people. It's people. Yeah, people are wired.
Yeah, they're
now.
all peoples in my mind.
Yes. It's mini wire people.
Each patch cable is a
It's been
person.
the show going.
Flesh wires.
Flesh wire.
Wires.
Yep. flesh wires.
I should count how many patch cables I like. Patch cables alone, I probably have like at least 100.
Now I want to do like an office tour, but I only show the cables. Like, look at all this mess.
I try to
each
avoid
cable.
them.
I have.
Go under the. Oh, it's bad. It's really
I've
bad.
never done an office tour because I don't want to read the comments about people complaining about cable management.
It's so hard when you have like a lot of cables. Like you move one thing and it just messes up everything.
Well, this is the thing. You can have perfect cable management, and then you need to replace something, normally in
Oh
an
my
emergency.
God.
So you then don't manage the cable, and then you're like, well, it's all messed up now.
Yeah.
I have the behind like my PlayStation and my 2 computers is just it's a rat nest now. And it's all labeled so I can find what it is because I use painter's tape to label everything.
Nice.
Because of this you don't want to be kind of trying to trace it down. Don't bring this up again, dude. This is terrible.
Bad question. You're banned.
Taco Rita says, as podcast hosts, do y'all prefer having the ads inserted in post-production or having the ad read live and finding a good segue? Kind of like how Holtz transitioned from talking about his dead cat into a blue mic ad.
I do love those transitions. They are
Yeah.
great. We don't get a lot of to do live on air ads.
No, I think there's probably a reason for that. It's fun to try and do a live ad. As long as we have the ability to kind of make fun of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
There's
if you
not
just have to
many ad
seriously
companies.
read an ad, it's not fun at all.
That's the thing. And most companies that are asking you to do an ad read are wanting very specific things to be said. So you can't just go and be funny with it. That's why if you watch a podcast and they do that, you'll see that they just read it pretty much verbatim, unless it's a more silly company. But they just read it and they're like, oh, thanks for our sponsor. Blah, blah, check out blah, blah, blah. Use code blah, blah. You can't really, there's not a lot of leeway.
Like 4 years ago, it was less structured. Like they would just ask you to talk about their product and you pretty much should go wild on it. But now there's a lot more money in advertising on podcasts now than there was back then. So it's good.
True.
And also having the ads inserted in post-production is a lot less work for us. But it doesn't have that.
There's also other technologies
fun.
now where they're live inserting ad reads of the hosts that have if we were to record something and then have it live inserted like how the ads are now, like that's also happening and becoming very popular. So I think it's possible that it's shifted more towards that side. But like that legendary Sherry's Berries commercial. Sherry's Berries. Oh man.
I do wish that I understand that when you're doing ads, just whether that's on a stream, a podcast, Twitter, a YouTube video, whatever it may be, I understand that they want to get a certain thing across and they probably want to keep it not about penises, but
I'm out.
it's
Come on.
It's a lot
write that into the
easier.
contract.
It's a lot easier to sell your product when I can just do it in a way that is natural for me and my community and all of that.
Yeah.
I think
people
it's
tune
better.
you out if you just vibe switch completely and it's just
Exactly.
100%.
blank
I think
reading something.
it's ultimately a better ad, even if you don't actually like sell the product in your ad. Just talking about it and having fun with it puts it. It's like a little earworm that puts it into people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's gonna remember. If I do a 30-second ad read for all of Nvidia's best products, nobody's gonna remember that. But if we sit here and just talk about Nvidia, like, I don't know, for 30 seconds and start making fun of them a little bit, they'll probably remember that more.
Yeah. Ray trace this,
But,
punk.
Silver Penguin says, question for Watts, but it includes all the members of DCP. If the DCP crew were in a typical classroom in an anime, what character or personality would they be? Example, Watts would maybe be the kid too excited about manga, and Pope would be class president.
Would he though? Would Pope be the class president?
Pope would be the teacher.
Kids, Pope's the weird
Pope would
kid.
100% be the teacher.
Pope is the teacher.
Yeah.
Pope's the weird kid in the back who wants to be a teacher when he's older. Tefty's the weird kid who eats ribs in the classroom, and Briar is the ribs.
But that's fucked up.
It's anime, Brian.
Yeah, anime,
Maybe
man.
you even talk. You
Just
are
go with
a
it.
talking
Yeah,
rapper.
as I'm eating a rib, you're like, describing it. Weird.
Perfect.
Mohegan 9 says, there's a poisonous spider in your office. Would you rather know or not know?
No,
I
definitely.
mean,
know.
if
I
it can
see
kill me, I would like to know that
Yeah.
it's gonna.
Yeah.
kill
Yeah, I want to
me.
know because then I'm going to fumigate the
Yeah.
entire house.
Or move. Something's happening.
It's all going to burn.
I have to say that Josh said Tefty's acting like a dinosaur in the back of the classroom. I would never get over that story. I would never, ever get over it. I'm going to need it to be told at least once a year.
You have to get high and then tell the story.
We could do a reenactment.
Duo Shade says, Dear TCP crew and Paul. Oh, this is, okay, rapid fire questions. Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
Vinyl or MP3?
Vinyl.
3-3.
Vinyl's cool.
Vinyl's an experience.
I won't pretend to be cool.
MP3.
Charcoal or propane?
Propane. Good goddamn,
What was
Bobby.
the first one?
Charcoal.
Oh, charcoal. I'll do propane.
Yeah, propane.
I have no freaking clue.
I gotta go charcoal. Scuf or an Elite controller?
Elite.
I like the Elite controller. It's nice.
So I will say that I don't like the paddle placement on the Elite controller, and then also the thumbsticks. This is purely user error, but all of these things are user error. I hold that my thumbsticks were weird, and the thumbsticks on the Elite controller genuinely hurt my hands.
How
Hmm.
weird
So-
can you hold thumbsticks? Like, what
I
do you-
hold them right
Yeah.
at the edge. I hold it right at the edge. So if it's got like a tough edge, it like really hurts my
Those
thumb.
are kind of knobbly edges.
Yeah, the edges are knobbly. It hurts me. I was playing Ori with the controller because I didn't have a Scuf Xbox controller, and man, it hurt. I had to relearn how to hold controller thumbsticks.
I'm throwing a wild card in. I really like these 8-bit Duke controllers that have back buttons instead of paddles. It just
Mm.
feels more integrated.
Cool.
Like the Steam Deck. It's going to have buttons.
I do like the Steam Deck, the Game
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, the Scuf controller, the paddles are just in a better place for me.
Thorn or the last word?
Last word.
Or
Last
word for me.
word.
Peanuts or Garfield?
Ooh,
Garfield, because ginger kitties and spaghetti.
Garfield
Lasagna.
Lasagna. Yes, that. Ginger kitties lasagna is called spaghetti. You didn't know that. I know that.
sure.
I think I gotta go. I don't know. Garfield. Garlic bread or French bread?
Garlic.
Garlic bread.
Garlic bread.
I love
Garlic
French
everything.
bread. I love French bread. Tybo or Zumba?
Billy,
Tybo.
Billy Link's Tybo.
Tybo.
Tybo? I'm not even
Yeah.
sure I know what Tybo is.
It's
got Ty
fighting
in
for
it.
cool people.
Yeah, that's better.
It's a good workout.
Oh yeah. Zachary Richens has some more rapid fire questions here.
Okay.
The first one is East Coast rap or West Coast rap?
West Coast.
West Coast.
West Coast.
I'm gonna go East Coast.
That's because you're on the East Coast. And
That's
we're
true. 60s rock or 80s?
80s rock.
60s.
80s rock.
80s rock, definitely.
Hans Zimmer or John Williams?
Zimmer.
Mm,
Easy.
Ooh, I feel like there's more iconic stuff from John Williams. More
Yeah,
things
There
that you
is.
like.
I just like Zimmer stuff more.
Yeah? That
Yeah.
Pirates
Go
of the
with
Caribbean.
Mr. Sir Williams.
The whole Interstellar soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, but John Williams, like, so many.
I know,
like,
I know. He does
Star
all the
Wars,
iconic
Harry
themes,
Potter, like
but
Jurassic
I'm not
Park.
like casually. I'm not casually listening to the Jurassic Park theme. Whatever. Like,
Yeah, I gotta go Williams. TV scores or video game scores?
Video game scores.
Probably video game, yeah.
I think that completely
video game
depends.
scores.
It depends on like what
TV
what
scores if it's like
I don't know if I've ever listened to a TV score. honestly.
DOC.
I
I've
think
listened to TV theme song, but mostly from the 80s.
I think video game themes, like just music in video games, maybe has more of an impact on you because you're in the game and you're experiencing it, and the soundtrack kind of adds to your experience of the game, and because you're just naturally more into the game than you are a TV show because you're playing it.
Also, it's
Um,
beaten
I
into
think
you
I do
by
like that.
hours and hours and hours.
That's
of
true. It's like, oh look,
grinding
it's
in an
the
RPG.
80th time I fought this boss. Guess I'll listen to the theme song. Yeah,
Jazz or opera?
Opera.
Jazz.
jazz. I love
jazz.
No.
MTL Rocker says, another rapid fire set of questions.
All
Give it a thing.
right.
Okay,
Beach
okay.
or mountains? I want to be on the mountains by the beach.
Yeah, both.
Mountains. Good views.
Beach.
Hawaii, basically. Beach mountains.
Yeah,
Beach
perfect. Bacon or sausage? Sausage.
Bacon.
Briar Rabbit.
God damn it.
Correct.
Trick question.
Holy crap.
Trick
Grease?
question.
Or Rocky Horror Picture Show? Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Greece.
Grease. I like Grease.
I love
I'll go with
Grease.
Rocky Horror.
Cause you need me. It's great.
Go without running water. You don't die of thirst. You just can't shower or use a toilet. Or go without internet.
Ooh.
Forever or like?
Yeah, what's the time frame here?
Because
That's all we
technically, I
got.
can do my job being real stinky.
I feel like
Yeah.
I would die of disease at some point.
I mean, if I was living by
Shower
the
ever.
beach, I could just
Yeah.
jump in at the water.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, you
if
got to
do
yeah,
re-rank
right.
number one.
There you go.
Okay.
Mm,
You just don't have running water.
I
There
can
it
go
is.
So
to
you
a
can jump in
river.
a pool or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can go to a river.
yeah.
Bathe in
Well,
a
that's
river.
running water. You'd have
That's
to do a
fine.
lake.
Oh, okay, fine. I will go
Still
to a
water.
lake. I will go to a pond. I will install a pond in my backyard.
You got a pool and a pond. Pond is good for you.
A jacuzzi? Does that count? Is that running water?
Oh, that's not running.
Yeah, it's not running
It's-
water. It's
Bubbling.
Take a jacuzzi.
Bofa says, will the DCP crew one day out Pizza the Hut?
Can we do pizza reviews while intoxicated?
I mean,
Is this
anything's
a
possible.
Spaceballs reference?
Spaceballs? Did you say
Yeah, remember Pizza the Hut?
Oh,
from-
I know the you can. I know that you can out pizza the Hut. I do know that. But we're undefeated, so I feel like we could out pizza the Hut.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's true. We are undefeated.
That's
Yep.
true.
Good point. Hugh Arun says, seeing as Briar got distracted by a potato-based side dish question last week, I'm taking the easy route and asking last week's question again. What's the most impressive thing you've ever been underneath?
Underneath.
Oprah?
Say Oprah.
Yeah, did you say Oprah?
Say Oprah Winfrey.
That's the name of my motorcycle. It's a very nice motorcycle. When I work on her, I kind of slide underneath.
Not Oprah
I was
Winfrey.
gonna say, I was
Got
like,
it.
wait, you're under your motorcycle? Okay.
That explains why Brian has so much money if he's been under Oprah.
I would claim it. That was one of my favorite Chappelle Show bits of all time. When he gets Oprah Winfrey pregnant, and then he's just like, "Fuck it," and he quits his job. He knows his life is made the shade from then on.
Oh my god.
Oh, I did almost get stuck in a mountain thing, a rock. What do you call it? When you
Under a
go,
rock?
Canyon?
when you
Funnel?
go rock,
Canyon?
Climbing?
Skaloofing, whatever. it's-
Skaloofin? What?
Old rock skaloofin.
Who doesn't
on the,
love rock
on the beach
skaloofin?
mountain.
I don't know, man. If you've never been in Rock Skaloofin, you've never
I went-
lived.
I went on it was a school trip, and they don't do it anymore because they apparently realized that this is very unsafe. And that we were like really high
Hold
on
on
a
to me.
cliff. And they were like, what if, well, to get to this place, you are going to have to jump over this crack in the cliff. If you fall down, you die. But, you should be fine. It's a small thing. So everyone was incredibly nervous to jump across the crack because if you fall in it, you die.
Naturally.
And the reason we were going there is because we were going rock exploring. So it's the thing where you crawl through a really tiny area in a rock to get to a
Yeah.
big room in a rock.
Skaloofing.
Skaloofin.
Skaloofin, of course.
And we almost got stuck. And we found out that the reason they stopped doing that is because someone did get stuck and it flooded and
Ooh,
they
did
almost
they die?
died. almost. They were able
Oh,
to get
man.
them out.
Some,
but
like,
that's why
100
they
arm
stopped doing
free
it.
or something.
Yeah, some 128
That's
hour
where
stuff.
I went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I went on a school trip. and
Luckily,
we were
Watts was there
in
and
a rock.
ate their arm off for them.
to help them out. You're welcome.
Dinner's served.
Yeah, it was scary, man. It's just some of those cliff rock, the cave things, cave diving, cave exploration is dangerous. Many people have
Yeah.
gotten stuck in little tiny things.
Skaloofing ain't easy.
Skaloofing ain't easy. It's dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know what I
And now
was.
illegal.
And answering the question, like national parks and big
Valid
mountains,
questions.
something that's huge.
Eiffel Tower. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
It is cool though. Yeah, it is cool to be in a cave. There, you're all alone, dark.
Wet,
it's got
dank
cave.
cave.
Were you
Cave
supposed to
stuff.
be all alone on your school trip, or?
We were with people, but they were small groups, and I'm pretty sure there was only one person who actually knew the way. So if you got separated from them, you were kind of
It's an
stuck.
increasingly dangerous sounding trip.
See, Jagged said, I used to run cave tours. Expecting people not to be dumb was complicated. Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, Spelunking.
I feel like it's getting more complicated as we go, too.
I didn't know
in
that-
days past, we just let stupid people die because that's how the world works.
Being
Oh,
in
and there
a
were
cave is
vampire bats and,
scary, man. I think people start panicking. They're in a cave and they're like, listen, you may have explained this to me 1,000 times, but I'm now in a cave and I'm scared.
right, because they
I don't
weren't
remember any.
listening
Maybe you're not
before.
what we call cave people.
I didn't know that the actual definition
Maybe
of spelunking.
Skaloofing's just not for you.
What is it?
It's the exploration of caves, especially it has in the definition, especially as a hobby. So if you're a professional cave explorer, I don't know if spelunking really applies since it's especially
You're not really
as
a
a hobby.
splunker if
Yeah.
you're not if it's not a
Oh.
hobby.
I always thought spelunking had something to do with treasure hunting too. I guess not. I was wrong.
I thought you were like finding geodes and stuff. Like that's what I think spelunking is. But
Spelunking.
Geode hunting.
I'm not gonna say I didn't know what splunking was. I thought splunking was what Patrick does now.
Making keyboards and stuff.
Dummy for Hire says, why is crunchy peanut butter even considered peanut butter? Ever try to spread that shit? It's impossible. I agree, Dummy for Hire.
Peanuts are pretty tough. As a,
One tough
Yeah.
peanut.
Not very spreadable.
yeah.
Fozzie Wazzy says, the DCP crew is going on a road trip. Who's driving? Who's in charge of music? Who's in charge of snacks?
Briar's in charge of snacks.
Fuck
Don't
you.
even-
I'll be in charge of music.
You don't want me now. No, I'm actually pretty good at navigating. I just don't do well under pressure. And if I'm driving and there's a lot of people in the car, I feel very pressured.
Hmm.
Pressured to perform, not kill you, not end up in a road rage incident.
I'm
Watts is not in charge of snacks because she'll put me on the menu.
you'd
like
be the
that.
snack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually a really good navigator. I'd like
I will do music. We will listen to all the anime themes. It's gonna be
Yeah, you
so
see,
fun.
this is why I'm
By the
definitely
end
doing
of it-
music.
Navigators anymore?
By
the-
Isn't like GPS just the navigator for everybody?
By the end of it, you will have glow sticks, maybe some cat ears.
No, I think we have to let Watts drive. Like, we have to. Like, there's no other.
I've only been pulled over once for speeding.
middle seat. That's just the role. Just
middle seats.
sit there and don't do anything.
And I'll do snacks and Tefty can do the music.
All right. Deal.
Dreadnought says, what is essential to have in your fridge at all times? And it will upset you if it's not there? Milk, honestly.
Butter.
Joke.
Butter.
Butter's
is
a good one.
Cook with butter. You can
Beer.
spread butter. Beer.
Beer is a good one. I won't get upset if there's not beer, though. I'll just go get more beer. If there's not milk, that fucks up my morning.
That's
So I'm
true.
not-
Yeah, you don't want to make a trip just for milk.
No. Trust me, as a father, you make a lot of trips just for milk. Like, daily. But, like, if it's not there in the morning when everybody wants it the most, you're walking out unshowered, filthy, and you're getting that milk. It's just the way of the
Fantastic.
world. It's upsetting when it's not there. Especially if there's a bowl of it on the counter. So somebody used the last of the milk
Pour
to
it
eat
back
cereal.
in, and you're like,
And
oh.
didn't say anything.
It just left them, ate the cereal off the top of the milk. It just left a half bowl of milk on the counter.
Time to reuse
You hear
it.
that?
Heathens.
Wayne says 2 clarifications from last week.
Okay,
One,
thank
you must have discussed Drink and Snake with Mav on side quests. I still want to know. And 2, Briar meat is gamey. He's a rabbit. If anyone tastes like pork, it's Defty because he's a narc. It's a good point.
That was a good setup.
That is
Wow.
true. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, now that is someone who can come on the show.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Wayne. I liked it.
I don't know what Mav said. Did she say vodka?
I don't know.
I don't
I
recall.
don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember Mav's answer for drinking snake.
Doughboy says dirty martini or Moscow mule.
What's in a Moscow Mule again? I
I'll
don't
look
know.
it up.
I know I don't really like dirty martinis.
No, I mean,
Too much.
I do like the mules. Mules are good.
yeah.
I do like those. Yeah, I'll go with that.
1.5 fluid ounces of vodka, 1.5 fluid ounces of lime juice, ice cubes, a half cup of ginger beer, and 1 lime wedge for garnish.
I would definitely drink
Yeah.
that.
That sounds
100%.
delicious.
It is
Refreshing.
And you get it in the cool cup. It's different.
Yeah, the copper cup.
The copper cup.
Yeah, those are cool.
They are cool.
They
I
are
like
cool.
them. I like them a lot.
Drag says you have to build a weapon made from only items in the room you're in. You get to bring this weapon with you to the island to defend yourself from being eaten. What is your weapon?
I have a thorn
I could
right there.
kill someone
Skateboard.
pretty good. I have Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda kicks some ass.
Oh,
got
I have Baby
over
Yoda
there.
too.
I don't have a Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Everyone has a Baby Yoda in their room somewhere.
Baby Yoda. Man, this helmet is pretty heavy.
I mean,
could slap
That helmet
you with
could do some damage.
it. It could.
Is that like a sturdy replica, or are you gonna hit something with that and it's gonna?
No, this is a
Shatter.
legitimate thorn that shoots actual bullets.
It's
Okay, well in that case,
You poke somebody's eye out with that?
Maxed out level.
you could. You could.
Oh, I
make-
know what I'll do.
Oh,
I'll grab my vape. I'll blow it in your face, disappear like a ninja, and then poke your eyes with a
You're
soldering
like
iron.
you're like Smoke in Mortal Kombat.
Exactly like that.
I do like
I've,
the
I've
idea
always
of
wanted you to say
taking-
that, Tefty, honestly. I've been waiting
Oh.
for that moment.
Wow.
Just
Dream has
Smoke in
been
Mortal
accomplished.
Kombat.
I do like the idea of making that Studley said about making weapons out of cables. We
Oh,
could
we
make
could
a
definitely
pretty
strangle some
fierce
motherfuckers.
weapon out of all these cables.
cable lasso. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hallie says, if you buy DiGiorno pizza on Amazon and it's delivered to your house, is it still DiGiorno?
Whoa.
Because it's delivery. It was delivered to you.
But it wasn't
It's not
cooked.
delivery. It's DiGiorno. It's delivery and also DiGiorno.
Delivery
Yeah.
with more work.
Doesn't it have to be cooked though for it to
Still not
qualify
ready.
as delivery? Has to show up hot.
Are
It
those
got
the
I
delivered.
rules?
don't know if that's because grocery delivery is not like cooking all your groceries. It's still called delivery.
Yeah, but would you
Take that,
say?
Effie.
Yeah, but are you going to be like, oh, my breakfast was technically delivery because it was groceries that were delivered? No, you're not.
Mm.
Yeah, you're not. You're not going to say.
I would
that.
agree with that. Yeah. Which I've done many of these things during the pandemic. So
I think delivery
Regular
has
meals
to be
and-
qualified as ready to eat when it's delivered.
yeah, I'll say that's true.
Okay.
Also, being delivered doesn't disqualify it from being DiGiorno.
No.
Being DiGiorno
Okay.
disqualifies it from being delivery. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
It's
No, that's
I
fair.
like the write up. So, in conclusion, it's not delivery. It's
It's like an
DiGiorno.
SAT question or
right.
something.
And this is why I'd like to thank our sponsor, DiGiorno's, for sponsoring the podcast.
The seamless integration.
I did order.
I love it
pizza.
with
I
the
did
with
just
the
order
cheese
pizza.
and the crust. It's delicious.
DiGiorno has good pizzas, man.
It was way better than the state of frozen pizza before DiGiorno.
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
upped the
yeah.
game. Who was it?
Yeah, they
Tombstone
did.
before?
Yeah,
Red Baron.
I remember Elios. It was like rectangles.
Hmm.
Elios sucks. Tiki says, if Paul Tassi was edible, what kind of food would he be? Everyone can give an answer except for Paul. Paul can
right.
pick his favorite and wear it as his Twitter alias for a week.
Chicago hot dog.
If he's
That's
got to
not bad,
wear
actually.
it
That's a
as
good
his
nickname.
Twitter alias, I'm going jerky.
Yeah, this is hard.
Weak.
It's tough.
Sweet cream?
Is that meat?
That's a good
Paul,
nickname too.
Sweet cream Tassi.
I like that.
Sounds
That's a good one
interesting
for
to
the.
be
That's
sure.
a good one for the Witch Queen when that comes out. Sweet cream.
Potassium.
Potassium. That is good.
People, that has been an actual nickname of mine back in like high school. That was very cool.
That's it. We've answered all the questions.
That's
the Destiny
Congratulations,
universe
guys.
has to throw at us.
We solved
Now
all the
you are
problems.
Fully informed.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Now
we
you
answered
know
everything.
if you've come back from Destiny after playing for years. Now you know exactly where to start.
Yeah, you have a
Yep, not at Shawhan. That's what we came up with.
100-point guide of exactly what to do, bit by bit. You are welcome. That is the show, episode number 250. Thank you very much for listening, hanging out, and going through our shenanigans.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Shout out to our Patreon members and our live Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. And shout out to everyone watching and listening. Paul, where can people find you?
At Paul Tassi on Twitter and YouTube, Paul Tassi. And then just Google me for my articles. They'll show up.
Awesome. Briar.
You can find me on other podcasts such as the Retro Slot we just recorded this Tuesday, talking about some classic video games and then the news in the classic video game space. Next week we'll be doing Side Quest, which I'm really excited about. We got a ton of games to talk about on Side Quest.
Yeah.
So look for other DCP podcasts.
What?
Yep. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts. And I guess I'm playing Eldest Souls now, which wasn't planning on doing, but that's where I'm at. So I'm going to play Eldest Souls.
Grime soon, right?
Is that like the
And,
prequel to Elden Ring?
I'm getting
the-
ready. It's preparing me. It's preparing me for the hardcore existence of Eldest and Souls. Eldening and Souls.
The Elden
Is
Ring.
that just like playing an old Dark Souls game?
Yeah, Demon Souls on
It's
PS3.
it technically
The
looks better
oldest.
than
The eldest.
looks better than Dark Souls. But we're gonna be playing that. I wanted to play Death's Door, but my lord, I'm gonna be playing Grime after this. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
looks
if it's a Souls like at this point, that's an indie game, I'm probably playing it. That's where you can find me. The email that I got about Eldest Souls was literally, "You like these games? Do you want to play it?" I do. Yes, you are correct. I
As
would
a matter
like
of fact, yes.
Yes,
Can you
I
up the anime by 40%?
Code Vein was the perfect experience. It's true.
Nice. And finally, I'm Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. What I'm doing this week, next week, is reviewing this $40 mic, the Tonar TC30. So that's what's on my, and a bunch of other things. I'm making a sample pack too for music, which has been going along good. But it's a lot of work
Tassi,
too.
how much can I donate for you to stream Idol Manager?
Don't
What
know.
everyone wants. It's
3 Briar
coasters.
ribs.
Briar,
that's
I'm
not
gonna need
up.
some help.
That's not-
I'm gonna
no.
need some help, Briar.
Got to be 3 though.
Do it
Can't
for
be
the
1.
community.
The whole female species was made out of just one.
You can go without.
All right, on that theological note from Briar, that's going to do it for the show. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.